But sometimes we in them and we forget who we are and whose we are. So I'm just reminding you today, knowing I got a flight, that you got to make sure that you bring that. So you walk in there, man, let me back up on this a little bit. And your soul, man, there's something inside. And it's churning. And you like, what's happening? But then you know what's happening because your soul is screaming out and it's saying, I am the number one determinant of the success or failure of my students. See, they're yours. They're yours. They're yours. Do you hear me? They're yours. So you walk in there, man. I am the number one determinant of the success or failure, watch this, y'all, of my, woo, they're yours. Students, they're yours. When you get back, kick some butt. And I'll see you in the winner's circle, celebrating your victory. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all got this, man. Thank you for letting me talk to y'all. Thank you.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to week 263 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got checking in. We got Natasha. Welcome. Excited to hear this new episode. I appreciate you, Natasha. We got the good Dr. Rachel Edo Eckett down in Maryland in the building. We got Arlette Johnson out in Connecticut in the building. Principal Arlette Johnson now. What we got? Nadira Coley is in the building. Newark. You know, Newark been in the news a lot over the past almost 24 hours. Gubernatorial candidate Mayor Ras Baraka was arrested yesterday. If you don't know the story, Google it later on and get yourself abreast of what's going on in this area. We got Fatima Nelson, Pennsylvania in the building. Robin Snowden Harambe is here. She said happy Mother's Day, and I say happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I'll get into that formally in a little while. We got AP Patrick Lawrence in the building, Connecticut, Yolanda McKinney, Texas, Grace Castaneda, Kyle, Texas, Michael Benton, Cincinnati, Ohio, Takesha High, Virginia, Constance Sherrod, Pearl, Mississippi, Rodney Richardson, Hampton, Virginia, Marsha Post, San Diego, California, Dr. Rella Hicks, Augusta, Georgia, Elisa Rivera, Rhode Island, Stacy Joy, LA, Los Angeles, California, Chancellor Davis, Las Vegas, Nevada, Sonia Matthew is in Maryland. We got Vanessa Zeskin is in Connecticut. Rod Laws, Hotep, he said, Greenville, North Carolina. Lysandra Brackens is in NC as well. LaKenya Robin, Jersey in the building. Rod Laws, he said, happy Mother's Day to the Queen. That's right. Ronald Pugh, Cedar Hill, Texas. Otis Kitchen II, I should say Principal Otis Kitchen II is in Tampa, Florida. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Sheikah Houston is in South Carolina. Speaking of Dr. Sheikah Houston, you know, every Saturday morning, you know, we got the Fantastic Four, man. We're not playing, man. Let me tell y'all something. Those of you who may be new to the platform, we are not playing. Every Saturday morning, starting at 10 o'clock, the Turnaround Principal Sean Hurt. These are all Facebook Live Eastern time, right? So Sean Hurt, the Turnaround Principal, followed by Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor of Create and Educate at 10:30. And then yours truly, the AP and New Principals Academy with myself, Principal Kafele. And then on Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern time, PDP podcast, Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern. We call ourselves the Fantastic Four, the Saturday Crew, Super Saturday. I don't know what's out here like it. particularly when we talk about consecutive back-to-back. Tune in and get all this free PD. You know, between the four of us, we're talking 2, 3. We're talking about 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours every weekend of content, because I'm on 2 alone, right? 2+. So there's a lot there. Let's go. Melissa Jones Tuna was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Dot McKee Vegeta, Calumet City, Illinois. Where we at? Jasmine Harris is out in California. Cynthia Brewer, Houston, Texas. John Hurricks is in Denton, Texas. Where we at? Justin McMillan is in the house. Justin, I forgot where you from, Justin. Where we at? Annette McMahon is representing Aurora, Illinois. I'm gonna be there soon, man. I don't know what the date is, but I know I'm coming to Aurora. I think I'm gonna be there in June. Right, Shalonda Williams Reed is in the building. Kimberly Broughton Cafe, the queen of the castle and the mother of this home as well. Well, my kid's mother anyway, my wife. Right, where we at? Stacey Ann Barrett is in the building. Good to see you. James Wilburn is in the building from Denton, Texas. September Devon Vance is in Jersey. There's Principal Tammy Taylor. I should say Dr. Principal Tammy Taylor. And I'm getting ready to wind it down, y'all. We got so much going on today in here. Tony McClenny is in the building from Battle Creek, Michigan. David Bell, Benton Harbor, Michigan. Nolene Martin is in North Texas. Jacqueline Harriet is in Nova Scotia, Canada. I think I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna stop it right there at Jacqueline. And good to see you, Jacqueline, always. Let me say formally to everybody now, because we got a lot going on. Good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 263 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. I want to start off by asking the question that I always ask. How y'all doing? How you feel? Man, it's so much going on, you know, whether we talk about in a lot of places locally, statewide, regionally, nationally, internationally, it's a lot going on. But I ask that question every week, as you know, the regulars, because I just want to remind you, wherever you are, you know, here, wherever you are, just do whatever you have to do, whatever works for you to keep yourself as centered as you possibly can. Why? Because the people that you lead, your students, your staff, your parents, your community, they need you centered. Of course, we're human beings with real emotions, right? So we understand that we you know, we're not robotic. We can't keep ourselves centered. Things happen that impact us, but somehow, some way, we want to move ourselves back here, right? That's important. That matters. Let's go, y'all. I got a few things here. As I always say every Saturday, continued thoughts and prayers to all the fam out there that may have been impacted by the wildfires in Southern California. Somebody new on here might say, man, you still talking about that? Yeah, because I am confident that those homes that were razed by fire are still in the same state. Right. So I haven't forgotten that. You know, I understand with the news, you know, things, you know, they're hot in a certain period of time. So they you know, you see the same stories, the advertising rates go up, right? Because everybody's tuned in, but then eventually everybody's gone. And I want to make sure that the folks are remembered on this platform. So again, continued thoughts and prayers to anybody impacted, and particularly the ones who are fam of this platform. Shout out to Seoul Middle School in Linden, New Jersey, and McManus Middle School in Linden, New Jersey. I had the opportunity to speak to both staffs this week, and I had the opportunity to stay in Jersey too, man. Didn't have to go to Newark Airport where radars are going black, you know, shutting down, and planes are in the sky for 90 seconds with no radar. Nobody in air traffic control could see any plane for 90 seconds yesterday coming out of Newark. I haven't been on a plane in 2 weeks because all my work 2 weeks ago was in New York State. So I'm just driving from city to city. And then all this week was in Jersey. So I didn't have to worry, but I'll be on a plane tomorrow morning, but we'll see what happens. And shout out to Woodbury City Public Schools. Under the leadership of Superintendent Andrew Bell, man, had a great time just spending 4 hours with the leadership team and others that came through that he invited, other superintendents, other principals, etc. But I got to highlight one of the people that came through that was not a part of the district. young lady by the name of Camilla Bell. I saw this young lady sitting in front of me on the front row, and I knew she was somebody, but I didn't know who. Do me a favor, give me a water. I didn't know who. Matter of fact, pause. I need this water. Give me that water. I'm about to lose my voice. My mother saying, "I hope he's all right." Thank you. I'm good. You know, it's windy today. I was outside. Pollen just floating all over the place. I'm good, y'all. Sound a little funny, but I'm good. Need that water. So the young lady, Camilla Bell. So I gave him a 10-minute break, and I looked at her, and I said something, and she said to me, "You know, you were my 5th grade teacher." Now that was 30 years ago. She said, "You know, you were my 5th grade teacher." I'm like, "Oh my God, I knew you." Right? So we talked, took pictures, all that kind of stuff. But I'm a tie. Oh man, this ain't good live. I got something going on right up in here, y'all. So I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more in the monologue, but you know, you up there, you doing a presentation and you talking with authority, like you know something, like you're an expert. And then you got the student who was your 5th grade student sitting in that audience. Imagine if the person, the adult now, but 30 years ago, a child is sitting there saying, "You weren't who you're preaching right now." See, that's the risk we take. But like I talked about in last week's monologue, your legacy, I feel like it's getting good again. Your legacy, it matters. So you're not just teaching for the youngster who's sitting in your class now. You're not just leading for the youngster that's existing in your school right now. You're leading for that youngster that might show up in your space 20, 30, 40 years from now. Is your influence still in that youngster? Or did your leadership or your teaching give that youngster who's now a grown adult an opportunity to say to you, "You weren't good for me. In fact, you damaged me"? See, so keep in mind, and this ain't even monologue, y'all. Keep in mind, they're going to grow up. They're not going to remain children for the rest of their lives. So as they grow up, what will be their recollection of who you were, who your leadership represented, and what you were all about as leader at your school or teacher in your classroom? So keep that in mind. Let's go. I got announcements. Welcome to the first timers. But if this is in fact your first time on this platform, that means you've missed 262 sessions. Yeah, 262, 5 years. But here's the good thing. They're all housed on YouTube at the AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. So just go there, AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. I'm going to say it again. Hit the subscribe button. I'm going to say it again. Hit the subscribe button. I'm going to say it one more time. Hit the subscribe button. And then once you do that, hit that notification bell, which will appear when you hit the subscribe button. And that way, when I go live, in case you forgot, you'll be notified through your social media. We have 23,600 subscribers right now. Can you believe that? 23,600 subscribers. That's a lot of people. But there are over 300,000 administrators in America, so I still got a long way to go, right? So hit that subscribe button for me, right? And then let somebody know. So tag somebody, text somebody, repost, reshare, hit them Facebook leadership groups. Do all you can to keep this message out here for the world. Let's go. My Leadership Institute, July 15 and 16 in Raleigh, North Carolina. You don't want to forget that, man. If you haven't registered yet, we go on 2 days. We talking nothing but instructional leadership. We'll talk other subjects if you ask me to. But in terms of the theme, We talking instructional leadership for 2 days, July 15, 16. Raleigh is this year. We've been doing this for years, but we spread it around different cities. Go to principalcafele.com, scroll down where it says Instructional Leadership Institute. Click the link, register. I'll see you in Raleigh, July 15 and 16, and you get a free copy of the newest joint. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise, right? Principal Cafele, I already got a copy. Then give it to your homie, right? It's all good, right? It's all good. Give it to someone who could benefit from it. Let's go. Let's go to my monologue, and then I can bring up my special guest, and then I bring up my invited guest, right? My monologue. Check this out, y'all. Let me bring it down a little bit because I want to be really serious on this one. My topic: beware of who you call an accountability partner. Let that marinate for a second. Let me get that to you one more time. Beware of who you call an accountability partner. What am I saying? You know, I've thought about that whole concept, that whole idea of accountability partner for a very long time. I've only had two. And the two that I had were actually personal friends who happened to be administrators, right? Who happened to be my assistant principals, who went on and became principals. And there I got my guys, Dr. Vincent Stallings and Vice President at Morehouse University, Kevin Booker, right? So these were my guys. But when I think about the whole idea of accountability partner, hear me well, somebody, and I'm gonna time myself. I'm trying not to ever go over 5 minutes on these monologues anymore. So hear me, somebody. When you select an accountability partner, I want you to keep a few things in mind. Here's the first thing. That we all need one. But understand that person is probably, if you're a principal, that person is probably not in your building. So therefore, this person can only give you feedback on what you've shared. See, if you haven't shared it, they can't give you feedback on it because they don't know anything about what you do. They can speak to you very generically, but if you're looking for something very specific, then you've got to tell them. But here's the thing. You've got to be vulnerable. You've got to be transparent if you're going to be brutally honest with them with the intent of getting feedback from them. But the challenge, and when I say beware of who you call an accountability partner, are you completely comfortable with being vulnerable and transparent with this particular person? Because see, keep in mind, if your accountability partner doesn't know principal leadership, then I don't know what good they can really be for you. See, principal leadership is not like any other leadership. Most leaderships, they're leading a particular genre of people. So you talk about employees, you're a bunch of adults for a company, a business, a corporation, whatever. But in school, you got children and adults in the same space. And you're leading children and adults simultaneously. That's a different kind of leadership than any other kind of leadership that's out there. And it requires a special person who can be leading a 10-year-old and a 50-year-old at the same time. That's some serious shifting at a moment's notice, right? So now, if you're talking to somebody that leads a different genre, they may not be able to fully relate to and identify with your kind of leadership when we talk about leading in a school. And you can't lose sight of the fact that you also lead parents. And you also can't lose sight of the fact that you also lead members of the community, right? So you've got a lot of different entities of people that you lead. So when you talk about accountability partner, you need somebody that thoroughly understands what you do. And that's probably going to be a principal or someone who moved on from the principalship but did it at some point. But then the challenge gets a little deeper. Watch this, y'all, and then I'm going to step away. When you select this accountability partner and you feel that this is in fact the right person for you to have as an accountability partner. You got to ask yourself, as you're being vulnerable, as you're being transparent, is this somebody that 5 years from now that you'd still want them to know some of your weakest moments, right? Some of your most confidential information. 10 years from now, would you still be comfortable knowing this person knows some things about you, not your personal life, but your leadership that you divulged during that time of the partnership? 30 years from now. Because here's the thing. You got an accountability partner, but that doesn't mean they're not talking to their spouse about your meeting, your conversation. That doesn't mean they're not talking to their cousin, their siblings, their friends, their homies. It doesn't mean that they're not having that conversation like, oh my God, check this out. My accountability partner dropped this on me, and now your stuff is out there. And I don't mean in a malicious way. I just mean it's out there. So I'm saying that to say, beware of who you select as your accountability partner, because although that's probably a very finite relationship, the information you share could be very infinite. So you got to keep that in mind, right? So my two, Kevin Booker, Vincent Stallings, I have no issue. I ain't worried about them two telling nothing that I've said to them. Because that's not just my partners, that's my boys. There's a difference. Keep that in mind. That's it, y'all. I'm moving on. I asked a special guest to come on with me before I bring up my guests. I'm getting ready to bring them on up here now. We gotta do some serious adjustment to this screen. So give me a second, Doc, and then I'm gonna be right with you. Here we go. Bam. That's still not where I want to be yet, but we gonna get there, man. Oh, we gonna get there. Oh, I know what it is. I gotta be here. There it is. And we'll keep it right there. Hey, my brother, Principal L.
How are you, my brother?
Hey, man, I'm on fire. You know that. I'm blazing.
I hear you, brother. I hear you on fire. You know what I love about it is that people don't have to wear masks when they come here with you, because you talking about tell your homie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get this joint.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know,
we ain't faking no funk here. We ain't faking the funk here. Ain't nothing formal about here. Right.
No, man. And it's real. And I said, man, I'm in school. You know, I'm in school and I hear the students, but you know, the students need to know that we can be real as well. As you talked about earlier with the young lady, your former student, relationships matter.
Yeah.
Connections matter. You know, they don't need to eat a whole pot and know it don't taste good.
Yeah.
And you want to know, who am I and who am you? And I'm sure that young lady saw herself in you back then, and you can see yourself in her.
There you go.
When you over there with Brother Bell, and that's a good brother too, also as well. Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a good brother. Man.
Let me tell the folks what you're up to. To the fam out there, and meaning everybody that's on the call. This is for those that don't know, I'm sure most of you do know, but this is Dr. Salome Thomas L., known commonly as Principal L. And he had written his first book back 20 years ago, and then he did some co-writing. But he decided it's time for me to use the singular pen again and pen another book solo. And here we go. Meet their needs and they'll succeed. Again, meet their needs and they'll succeed. Published by ASCD. The book is brand new. In fact, it just came off the presses. It's burning my hand just being in one hand, because I gotta kind of do like this, y'all, because it's hot off the presses. And I might add, it's also hot just in terms of being bought by people, because I see it on social media, people posting pictures. So I asked Salome to come on and just give us a synopsis for a few minutes, and then he's going to be on with me solo one-on-one, his second one-on-one with me on August 9. So please put that in your calendar. Ooh, it's so hot, man. I gotta keep moving this thing. August 9. Put that in your calendar, and he and I are gonna go one-on-one for about 90 minutes to 2 hours talking about this book and more. So with that, Principal L, tell us about. Oh, by the way, y'all, let me put this to the camera. It does say forward by Baruti K. Kafele. How could I forget that, right? So that's, I wrote the forward, man. Hey, Principal L, tell us about this book.
And I'm thankful for that forward, brother, because in the forward, among the many nuggets that you drop, as you talk about how as leaders, both of us, one of our commonalities that we led our teachers, students, communities, all without fear of consequences, because we know the stakes are too high. And that just stuck with me. You're reading through your forward, because it's so true that the price of leadership is conflict. And as you know, we both have been through some conflict.
And there's Dr. Bell, by the way, soon to be Dr. Bell, Andrew Bell.
No, don't tell me that Liberty Bell is on here with us, is he?
Yeah, he right here.
That's a brother that loves fishing as well. So we are definitely connected there. But I appreciate his leadership and yours. And in the book, I talk about the importance of leadership, and most importantly, how we impact our children and students. I talk about how every student, every teacher deserves to be seen, heard, and celebrated. And we're coming off, this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I love how you promoted that so well. I know your impact, great impact, is on leaders, but you also know we are nowhere without the teachers and staff, in our buildings, who are there grinding every day, in the trenches. And that's what this book is all about: transforming the lives of our young people through relationships, brother. So important. And I wrote this book with the spirit of Dr. King, because 60 years ago, he talked about chaos or community. Where do we go from here? And his Chaos or Community book was really, that was the last book he wrote before he was assassinated in 68.
That's right.
And his mindset was where are we going to go? What are the choices we make? And when I thought about that, I thought about, where are we now with this government and what they're doing to education?
Yeah.
And are we going to choose that chaos, or are we going to choose to lead with the community, in mind? And we have to. So the book is filled with strategies that we can use that cost no, and you superintendents are going to love this. No additional funding, right? That your teachers and your staff members can implement these strategies, creating these connections in school, and being able to set up positive and strong after-school programs, teaching critical thinking and creative problem solving. When I see these young people making these decisions, that young lady who made that decision to be an educator, impacted by us, impacting their decision. Trauma-informed teaching, and practices. The importance of after-school programs. And one of my favorite chapters is a chapter on creating joyful, engaging, and challenging classrooms. Joy and learning can exist in the same school. They're not mutually exclusive. I tell people, rigor and joy, the students should experience that on a daily basis. Let's just make it something that they're willing to come back to. Let's challenge them, but let's be there for them. And as you say, are you the leader that's good for your school?
There you go.
Is your school better, because of yes, sir. And so, and I finished, of course, with educators who choose to stay. And I posted on Facebook this morning about Brother Hayward John. I had met him 20 years ago. He saw me on C-SPAN. I Choose to Stay first came out. He sent me an email and said, I'll probably never get a chance to meet you, but I'm an aspiring educator. I'm in school. My family was on the way to Georgia. I said, let's stop at South Carolina State University and surprise this young man. He drove up on campus. So him and some of his other called me Mr. Colleagues, and we've been friends and colleagues ever since. And now, he's been a principal, district leader. I mean, he's a powerful brother.
Doing this thing, that's my man. Yeah.
But, the book is filled with stories like that, of how we are just connecting with other leaders, other young people, and how they grow up. I got a story about one of my young chess players, who struggled, but I said, you got to keep going. She kept going, became a champion, and just graduated from Cornell University, from the hood. But it's all about them believing in themselves, but having the leaders who are willing to say, you can be me because I was once you.
I love it. Well, look here to the fam out there, and we got a lot of people on here making comments. To the fam out there, mark your calendars, please. August 9th. August 9th, Principal L will be back and we'll go one-on-one and we will break this down. But in the meantime, I'm gonna let him tell you where you can get it. But let me just say, Amazon is one of them. Since I got it in my hand, Amazon is one of the places you can pick up this book, or ascd.org. But Principal L, go ahead. How do they not only get the book, but how do they book you to come out and speak to their group?
Yeah, they can get the book on Amazon, ASCD. Folks have been struggling. It had hit number 4 on Amazon, so they were sold out. But folks can go to my website. You can order the book. You can book me to come out and speak. If you mention that you know me and Principal Kafele, then like he said, I'm gonna talk to you about like your homie. That's what we're gonna do. I want to give a special shout out to my man Sharif El Mekki, who's on there. I want to thank you, brother, for all you do. Yesterday was Black Teacher Appreciation Day, and the great work that brother's doing is amazing.
It's amazing.
As well.
Amazing. Yes, yeah, it's amazing.
PrincipalL.com. Be there or be square.
That's it. PrincipalL.com. We'll see him back here August 9th. Put that on your calendar, and we gonna go all into this, right? Yeah. So put that on the calendar. Hey man, I appreciate you stopping by for a few minutes, and I see you in San Antonio.
Yeah, thanks for a powerful forward, brother. I'll see you and appreciate. Love you. Take care. Stay strong.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, now let me get the brothers up here. Let me get my screen right, y'all. Let me get my screen right. That ain't right. That ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it either. I'm gonna figure it out. Let me get rid of this comment first. And where we at? In the meantime, there we go. Morning, brother.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm the host, man, but it's hard when you the host, the producer, the engineer, you know, the phone guy to answer the phone calls from the callers. No, we ain't there yet, right? But it's hard, man. But it's all good. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. We y'all got time on your hands?
Yes, sir. Got time.
Yeah. And to the fam out there, I hope you got time on your hands. We got a lot to talk about here, but all the preliminary is out of the way. Let me let y'all know who's on here. I know a lot of you already know because I was seeing all the comments, and particularly when I posted the ad the other day. But let me go to Dr. Monte Abner first. He's a dedicated and visionary educator. I'm gonna read fast, y'all. With over 2 decades of experience in K-12 education, a native of Wilcox County, Alabama, Dr. Abner is a proud 1997 graduate of Wilcox Central High School. He earned his BA in English education from Talladega College in 2001. Graduating with honors as a presidential scholar, he went on to obtain his master's in education, an education specialist, and doctor of education in educational leadership from the University of Alabama. His doctoral dissertation focused on teacher practices that contribute to the success of African-American males, reflecting his enduring commitment to equity in education. He began his career in English, an English teacher and basketball coach, serving as both Fayetteville and Talladega high schools, where he also took on roles such as academic coach, ARI reading coach, and club sponsor. I'm reading so fast, I'm messing up, y'all. Don't worry about it. His leadership journey began in 2009 as assistant principal at Sachs High School and continued at Weaver High School in 2013. He became principal of Indian Valley Elementary School, leading the pre-K to 2 school for 6 years before taking on his current role as principal at McAdory Middle School in McCalla, Alabama. He's led a student body of nearly 1,000 and a faculty of over 70 with a focus on fostering academic optimism, strong school culture, and student mentoring programs such as the Brotherhood, which supports the personal and academic growth of young boys. He's also committed, also deeply invested in community and ministry work. He served in the leadership in Victory Church in Talladega and is founder of several mentorship and outreach initiatives, including Mirror, Image Male Mentorship, Image League Basketball, and the Man Up Initiative. He's been recognized with numerous awards for his contributions to education, community service, including being named one of the Talladega 40 Under 40 and receiving the Super Citizens Unsung Award, Hero Award. Lastly, guided by his personal motto, who you are now must have an encounter with who you are destined to become. Dr. Abner continues to inspire transformative growth in students, educators, and communities alike. Next, Derek McCoy. I'm so glad Derek sent me the short version, so I don't have to read so many long ones. I'm reading this short version, but there's so much more to this, brother, and you'll pick that up as we go along, y'all. Derek McCoy, Principal McCoy, is currently the principal of Havelock Middle School. He is a career middle school educator and has always focused on improving student learning and achievement, increasing teaching efficacy, and creating a learning environment to prepare students for their future. He was named one of 25 educators to follow on Twitter by NCED and the Innovative School Partners. In 2014, he was named Digital Principal of the Year by National Association of Elementary School Principals. He presents nationally on aspects of leadership, teaching, and learning best practices, equity, and learner-centered schools. He has co-authored The Revolution, It's Time to Empower Change in Our Schools, a book designed to lead conversations on leadership, change strategies, school culture, and empowerment, and is contributed author. 10 Perspectives on Learning and Education, a compilation featuring leading educational voices today, such as Jimmy Casas, Jeff Zool, and Todd Whitaker. Todd and Jimmy have been on here. Probably need to get them back at some point. Lastly, but not least, we got Dr. Marcus Scott IV. An award-winning, matter of fact, Doc, while I'm reading your bio, hit up the editor and tell her that you're on live. I forgot to tell her.
I told her.
Okay. An award-winning educator, that's Joy Scott Ressler. She's our editor. Thought leader and transformational change agent, is one of Georgia's most respected figures in educational leadership. How about that, y'all? A 2024 Georgia Principal of the Year finalist, current school board member, chief academic officer of Allendale County Schools in South Carolina. Dr. Scott is spearheading the Allendale Comeback, an ambitious initiative to restore the district's legacy of excellence and remove it from the state control by placing students at the center of every decision. Known for his relentless pursuit of educational equity, school turnaround success, and youth empowerment, Dr. Scott has spent over 2 decades of school administration experiencing reshaping the landscape of public education. His educational leadership journey has spanned classroom teaching, school board membership, coaching various sports, assistant principal at both a traditional and alternative schools, principal coach, public speaker, consultant, college professor, and author of Inspire, 7 Systems for Transforming Underperforming Schools. As a school leader, Dr. Scott achieved unparalleled success at Building Bridges Academy, an alternative school that he founded. He accomplished a 100% graduation rate for 4 consecutive years and eliminated the school-to-prison pipeline by creating a therapeutic and supportive school environment. He later replicated similar success at Myers Middle School in Savannah, Georgia, where he led the school off the state's comprehensive support and improvement list, doubled academic proficiency rates, and transformed its reputation into the best middle school in Savannah. Myers earned the 2023 Georgia Association of Secondary School Principals Breakout School Award and was designated as an HMH model school under his leadership. Beyond school walls, Dr. Scott is the founder president of Scott's Educational Empire, a multifaceted organization that encompasses real estate development, education consulting, public speaking, and youth mentorship. He is also the founder of Scott's All-Stars, a nationally recognized mentoring and leadership program with a 100% college entrance rate and an average GPA of 3.88. Scott's mentoring and leadership program, where they mentor a group of 40 youth monthly. He also personally gives back over $5,000 in scholarships annually. Lastly, a true innovator, Dr. Scott created and hosts the Educational Hotline and Financial Literacy Hotline, weekly Facebook Live broadcast dedicated to increasing public awareness around education, youth success, and financial empowerment. Dr. Scott's unwavering philosophy is simple and powerful: put students first. This belief has guided every role he's held, every program he's led, and every school he's transformed. That's a lot there, y'all. That's a lot of success of my 3 guests, folks. We are ready to get down. So once again, hit the retweet button, hit the repost, the share button, the tag those Facebook groups, those Facebook leadership groups, text somebody, call somebody, and lastly, hit the like button. even if you dislike it, hit the like button anyway. That's how we activate those algorithms. Let me go to you, Dr. Abner. You know, and as the guest, as the fam out there knows, and as you probably know, I divide us up into, I got my own questions and we go to those talking points, right? So let me get
Yes, sir.
started with my stuff. Dr. Abner, you have a student mentoring program which stood out for me when I read the bio earlier this week, called the Brotherhood. And it supports the personal and academic growth of young boys. With our topic being that your leadership, good leadership is grounded. Let me read it the way I wrote it. I don't want to memorize it. Oh, come on, man. I said the success of my school is grounded in my leadership effectiveness. So given that title, talk to us about this program, the Brotherhood. And in talking about it, how does your leadership influence that program, if at all? And how is the program reflective of your leadership?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Good morning to everyone first, and thank you for this opportunity, Principal
Yes, sir.
Kafele. Let me start by saying I've always believed in mentorship and using those programs at school, but it was in 2013 in New Orleans at the SREB conference when I first met you, and you talked about your program, your Monday morning meetings with boys. And I kept trying to figure out what did that look like for me. And following that, I got my first opportunity to be a principal, but it was at a pre-K through second grade school. So it became challenging. So when I got to where I am now in 2019, it wasn't my idea. The young men came to me and said, "Hey, Doc, what can we do that we can be together so that we can behave better, number one, and number two, so that we can make better choices?" So I said, "What about having a mentoring program?" And they said, "Yeah, that's a great idea." I said, "What would we call it?" So they called it the Brotherhood. And in that meeting, the young men and I, we decided what the goals were going to be for our organization. And what we thought was going to be just maybe 20 to 30 young men that the teachers identified became so large that we had to open it up per grade where there's no amount of students who's invited. So any student who wants to be a part, any male students want to be a part, can be a part. What they decided was we want to have people who reflected what our school mission and values were. One, we want students to demonstrate and exemplify our core beliefs from our PBIS standpoint, what it means to be safe, wise, accountable, respectful, and a model leader. Number two, we wanted students who knew how to respond in difficult situations, to not react every time there was a problem. Number three, we wanted students to know how to relate with their peers, their teachers, and their parents. And then number four, we wanted students to be able to set goals for themselves academically, emotionally, as well as financially. So we had financial classes as well. What we decided to do was to then invite outside people, some parents, to come into the program to help us. Hey, this is what we want to do. We want to have this mentoring program for our young men. What can you do to help us develop this program? We had some parents to come in and decide that they wanted to donate food. Some donated money. Some donated shirts and gift prizes. From there, we developed our program, the Brotherhood. For me, I thought this was important because I want to be in a space where I can develop young men to be able to identify with their purpose, to set goals for their future, and to pursue those with tools that we put in place to help them be successful. We started bringing in guest speakers. We started inviting teachers to come be a part. Then we set our schedule up to make sure that we didn't have to interfere with the instructional time, to give them that space to be with the other young men. Eventually, the program evolved so well that we started having our 8th grade students come back to start helping us with the 6th grade students. So for me, that's how our program began. It continues to evolve each year, but the purpose of it has always been to prepare our young men to be successful adult men beyond middle school.
I love it, and I love the parallel I hear. You know, particularly when you said that 8 to 6, that's a beautiful thing, because that has such impact on the overall culture of a school. when we start empowering your older children with their slightly younger peers. So that's just powerful stuff. Before I move on from you, I got one more for you. You've got this quote that it really resonated with me. You said, "Who you are now." I'm gonna read it slow because I want everybody to hear this. Who you are now must have an encounter with who you are destined to become. Y'all let that resonate for a hot second, right? I want to read it again because it's really powerful. Who you are now must have an encounter with who you are destined to become. I want you to elaborate on the quote and tell us its significance to who you are personally and professionally.
Yes, sir. There's a story to that quote as well, Principal Kafele. It was in 2004. I was teaching at Talladega High School, and some of my young men in the class had started to get in trouble in the community. They got involved with gang activities, and news had just gotten back to school. There was a big shooting that taking place in the community. And I got into the classroom. I knew I had my learning target on the board. I had my lesson plan outlined. But at this moment, we had to have, quote unquote, a come to Jesus meeting. I had to have a conversation with my young men about the decisions we were making. And in that conversation, I said to them, who you are now must have an encounter with you're destined to become. And what I was saying to them is that the decisions we make right now, the choice we make right now, they lead to the people we are becoming. You don't wait until tomorrow to become a great athlete. You become that right now. You don't wait until tomorrow to become a great doctor. You become that right now. And for me, that's the same thing for my career. I remember back in 2013, right before we came to SREB, I interviewed for a principal job in the district I was in. And I thought I had that job. I knew I should have had it because I was doing the work of a principal. And so I didn't get it, but I went to the superintendent and he said to me, he said, "Monte Abner, when you become a principal, you'll become a principal." And so all that connected back to this quote, this philosophy I have that who you are now must have an encounter with who you're destined to become. You don't just start becoming a principal tomorrow. You don't become an instructional leader tomorrow. You don't become a great building instructional leader tomorrow. You don't become a superintendent tomorrow. You start becoming those things today, and you work on developing that as you go. It's not like building the plane as you fly it. That's too late. You start doing the work right now, and eventually, before you know it, you are what you want to become.
I love it. I love it. Because when I was reading it, I was thinking, I never set out to be a teacher. I never set out to be a principal. That was not on my radar at all. But when I was in corporate America, they had this program where they took us into schools in Newark, New Jersey, and we just did some mentorship with small groups. And in doing that mentorship with small groups and having already read The Miseducation of the Negro, that mentorship crystallized for me. I want to teach. I didn't even go to school to become a teacher. That just wasn't on my radar. But I had an encounter, to use the quote, I had an encounter with what I was destined to do. And obviously the world knows I've been in education pretty much all my adult life, right? But when I read that quote, I said, man, that thing is me. That encounter, that's strong stuff, man. I appreciate that. Y'all get that quote down. Principal McCoy. I gave Principal McCoy a doctorate on Thursday, and he hit me up with a text, man. He's like, "Yo, not yet, man, not yet."
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you come across like doctor, right? So, in your bio, it talks about increasing efficacy and increasing efficacy of teachers, and that being really an important component of the work that you do. I want you to explain, what is teacher efficacy, right? As basic as that may sound to somebody, it might be something new to somebody else, right? So what is teacher efficacy, and why is it important to Principal McCoy's leadership?
First, good morning, everyone. And I'm just blessed to be able to be here with this esteemed group.
Yes, sir.
My answer is going to be unique, but Monte, I'm gonna go ahead and apologize because I'm a piggyback on a lot of the nuggets that you just dropped as well. We know that we need good people in front, good adults in front of students every day. We know we need good people. Ideally, actually, ideally, we want people who love kids so that they can love what they do. When we can find people who love kids, love what they do, and more importantly, want to make an impact, our schools change. How our learners feel about school changes, and it becomes a more positive environment. And school is a place where we want people to be. But now for the teacher efficacy part, it's not good enough to have a good teacher in front of students. We can have somebody in front of kids, and they can talk well, and they can devise this and devise that. But it's just not enough to be a good teacher. Our role, my mission, is to help people make an impact with students, each individual student. And that doesn't come with being a whole, how well you lead a whole class. That comes with understanding the dynamics of the classroom, and understanding the individual needs of students, understanding the needs of the students who need us the most. And that's the part that Monte was hitting on. I don't want to generalize, but I've always served in high need schools, mostly Title I schools, and communities that have a lot of need. And the group there, and the group there that is often the most misunderstood, the group there that needs the most help, like Monte was saying, is our Black boys. And it makes me, I get goosebumps just thinking about Dr. Kunjufu just passing, and we know that
see the book on your bookcase too.
And we know that that's when you posted that on social media a little while ago, I pulled that out just to keep that in the front, because I remember I saw him in Savannah. Kafela, I'm like you. I'm a political science major. I was going to go to law school. Education was not on my radar. Education was not on my radar at all. But I've always been about community. So I went to hear his message, and it was something. So when I started education, I was a middle school math teacher. Things started clicking and coming together. So it's not about how much math I know, and it's not about how well I can explain math to students. It's about what I do in my classroom differently, on a differentiated basis, to help students be the best that they could be and excel in his or her own each unique way. I had to have help doing that. Right now, my role is helping our teachers become better at what they do, and helping our assistant principal in that role as well, and helping her in her coaching skills, as I've done with assistant principals before, future assistant principals. I see now how an elevated approach to helping our coaches coach teachers makes an impact with our neediest kids. And if you can't measure the impact of what you do with your neediest kids, then we need to press reset, set some new goals, come back to the table. Because again, it's not about what you write on paper in terms of learning plans. It's not about finding the best video for whatever. At the end of the day, at the end of the lesson, at the end of the unit, can they show what you need them to show? I don't need teachers. What we write about in our book, I don't need our teachers to be the teachers that I had growing up. Nobody needs them. We need teachers who are going to serve kids. And if I have it in my vision of what that is, that means me being the better coach and helping them get better. That means me being a good coach for our admin staff, for our admin team, in supporting and leading them to be really the revolutionary teachers that our learners need.
I love it.
Can I chime in on that, Principal Kafele?
Yes, sir. And before you do, Dr.
Okay.
Scott, I should have said to all of you, feel free to chime in on each other anytime.
All right, and I didn't mention teacher efficacy. It's not my passion, but it's my pet peeve. So low expectations is something I have a problem with. And for me, teacher efficacy is a teacher's belief to impact student performance, no matter what their background is. And a lot of times when you're at what they call underperforming or low economic schools, there's a low expectations for students. And that is something that I have very little tolerance for. And I do understand where it comes from. So I do take time to teach that teacher efficacy part. However, if that's something that you do not want to learn, then I don't feel like you need to be in my building, because every teacher in my building, I feel like need to be able to have high expectations. And I want to be able to say that, hey, I want this teacher to teach my child. Yeah. So if you have low expectations for any
Marcus,
student, then
listen, I'm just going to hit on all the nuggets that Marcus and Monte are dropping today, because that's it. Lowered expectations is a discrimination. Lowered expectations is a discrimination.
Yeah.
And if we can't help coach people out of that, help them realize sometimes lowered expectations is intentional, and I get it. Sometimes it's unintentional. So our job is to help bring that to illumination. Let's make a plan, and then let's make a change, and let's hit different. Because again, not again. I'm sorry. I will believe that if you raise your hand to that you want to be an educator, you come into this building with some good in you, and I'm gonna. It's my best to help elevate that good, right? So I'm not gonna jump in saying, "Oh, you did." My goal is not to jump in. It's like, "Oh, you did wrong, or you came in doing wrong," and blah 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 blah. I need to elevate. I need to show you this. We need to make a plan, and we need to do better. Marcus, thank you for that. Yes, brother. Yes.
Can I answer just for a second?
Now y'all keep in mind, I got 9 pages of notes. Right?
One of the mistakes.
You know what? I got time.
One of the mistakes I made as I don't know if it's a mistake. I'm saying it to be funny, but I give my students voice to talk to me, and we have a leadership group. And I asked them to be open and honest and candid with me, and they shared the same thing. One of the things they talked about is that sometimes they don't perform at high levels because they know the teachers don't believe they can do high level work. And so I came back to my teachers. I shared all of that with my teachers, and I said, but I did it a different way. I said, I asked them, do you believe our students can achieve at high levels? If so, what does that look like, and what is the evidence? So we have those types of conversations in our PLC meetings, because those kids, they know if you believe they can achieve at high levels. They know if you believe they can behave. They know if you believe they can become successful. And it determines how they respond in the classroom.
If nobody else in that room knows, kids know. If nobody else in that room knows, kids know. Yes, sir.
And to both of your points, like you said, you can't be mad at the beginning because it's already embedded in that culture. But that's where that culture change comes. And to Principal Kafele's topic, you root that into your culture and your leadership. So if teachers understand that principal is not going to accept it, then that low expectation will be eliminated quickly.
Let me keep moving. I want to throw one more at you, Dr. McCoy. You were the 2014 National Association of Secondary School Principals Digital Principal of the Year. Talk to us about what does that mean to be a digital Principal of the Year? Because we hear Principal of the Year, but what is a digital Principal of the Year? But more importantly, what is the significance of technology to your leadership?
Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So when I talk about this now, I when I talk about this now, it ends up being a talk about pre-pandemic, post-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-pandemic, and I hate that it's divided like this, but in my mind, to me, pre-pandemic, digital learning, digital teaching, digital leadership was about getting people to understand that technology is not the devil, that there is a place for technology in learning, right? We just have to think. We just have to think differently about it. A guiding precept was, if you can Google the answer, then you were asking the wrong question. Okay, if you could now pre-pandemic, if you could Google the answer, you were asking the wrong question. Right. So that's kind of that in a nutshell. Pandemic hits. Now everybody has a device. Now we all think that we're all digital learning, and we're all engaging in digital learning and digital teaching, when in fact, what we've done is we've just digitized a textbook, or we found a video and we put it out there. Our book came out right around that time, so our message has always been about using technology to elevate and empower students, giving voice and choice to our learners, capitalize on the power of personalized learning. So one of the disconnects that we often see is the cultural disconnect in the classroom. Teachers not knowing the value, not knowing the lives that our students are learning, that our students are living. Teachers being disconnected from not fully knowing where or who our students are or what they value. We talk about how technology can play a role in emphasizing student strengths, what strengths and beliefs they bring to the table, and using that as an elevation for their voice, for their creativity, for what they need to do to express themselves. Now, and this is another phase. Now with AI has us, artificial intelligence has us at an even more fearful point, because we know that kids can AI a question for the most part, or a lot. Going back to the teacher efficacy part, we have to show so it's not about banning technology, because that's never the answer. It's about elevating our practice, our beliefs, so that when we have to involve technology, our students are engaged in smarter. Our students are engaged in deeper thought, deeper conversation, true research, true creation, true communication, and really getting away from digitized textbooks or digitized worksheets, I should say. Tapping into one of our foundations in the book is about creativity. Just that piece right there. Not just creating a PowerPoint. Just really, how can we think how can we collaborate and think differently, create a culture of empowerment and creativity that will really help and magnify our students with their own voice and what they can do. People, it's not just about a device sitting on a table. That is an opportunity for teachers to truly connect culturally, instructionally, with the students in their room, and really enabling those students to be producers, not just consumers, but to be producers. That's a nutshell.
I love it. I appreciate that. Let me go to Dr. Scott. Dr. Scott, you were a Georgia Principal of the Year finalist. What was it about your leadership that drew that kind of attention, that of such a large state with just so many principals, that you become this finalist of that state? I guess it's another way of saying or asking, as a principal, who was Dr. Marcus Scott IV?
I think that a transformational leader, one, but a leader that puts students first. And although, people use that mantra a lot, I think putting that actually into action is more difficult a lot of times than just saying it. So when teachers respect you because you're holding down what you said and putting students first, and they see the work is paying off because students are being successful. And when you say that you believe that all students can learn, and when teachers may have not had that belief prior to your arrival, and all of a sudden you have 95% retention 2 years in a row, when prior to your arrival it was a 40% retention rate. So and as I preached, these are 95% of teachers that I wouldn't mind teaching my child. I wouldn't want anyone in the building that I wouldn't want teaching my child. And just having that belief that, hey, every child in this building is my child. So when I first became a principal of Myers Middle School after coming from an alternative school, there was that perception, again, that low perception of students. So I think being able to turn that around with of course the 7 systems, but also 3 beliefs, and that is that students come first, all students can learn, and that student engagement is a key for quality teaching and instruction. So those are the things that I think helped me become principal of the year. Finally.
Yeah. That's a big accomplishment, just to gain that kind of recognition. The same with McCoy for that digital leadership back in 2014. But then within that time that you served as a principal, you founded a school. You achieved unparalleled success. But at Building Bridges Academy, the alternative school that you founded, you accomplished a 100% graduation rate over a span of 4 consecutive years, and eliminated the school to prison pipeline, and creating that therapeutic and supportive school environment to kind of lift that directly out of the bio. But here's my question, a 2-parter. When you set out to create and ultimately lead this school, did you envision the success that you attained, or did that happen? That's on the one hand. Did you see that coming? But on the other hand, describe the role your leadership played in that school achieving that level of success as an alternative school.
Yeah, so when I say founded, I would more say started, because it was a public school. So that previously the public school used a private alternative school. So I was asked to start a traditional public school that was a traditional alternative school that was a part of the public school. So, but I was given full autonomy on what that should look like. And prior, the reason for the change, because of the pipeline to prison, where students were consistently going to the alternative school and not going home. They would end up in jail, the county jail, by the end of the day, because the program was that dysfunctional. So to the district credit, they gave me a lot of support as far as there's very few alternative schools in maybe the nation, if not the state, the nation, that have their own school social worker, school psychologist, therapist. We had a case manager. So, and then we were fully staffed. So that pretty much laid the groundwork. And one of the things that we said is we wanted this alternative school to be very different in that we didn't suspend kids. We definitely didn't expel kids. So we wasn't suspending. So the only reason for a suspension if there was a fight, and if we could talk that out, then we would. But fights were non-negotiables for the most part. But anything else, We had support staff that was there and ready to provide support for students. So, and wraparound services, I think that I'm a big belief in that the more we can keep kids in school during the day, the better. So after the regular day, we have classes from 3 to 6. So we have students, and then we had classes on Saturday. So we had students that could spend a majority of their day with us. A lot of times we blame parents for certain things, but parents don't have the ability. Some parents don't have the ability, but if we teach them at school, we can change that belief system ourselves. So instead of pointing the finger, we wanted to make sure that we did as much as school to make sure that students were successful. So providing wraparound services, doing everything we could for students, not expelling kids. So again, if we can do it at an alternative school where students were expelled from their traditional school and came to us and then didn't get suspended, most of them at that time were for fighting each other. So we had 2 hallways and they didn't fight on that hallway, but we're going to expel them from the traditional school. So we kind of changed a lot of that mindset. No child was ever charged during the 5 years I was there with anything. And prior to that, I think they had over 100 charges in 1 year. So just changing the mindset, pretty much culture change, and being intentional. So your original question was, did I think that we would have this impact? So anytime I'm doing something, I'm doing it 100%, 100,000% probably. So I expect excellence. Could I say to this level? Maybe not, but I expect it to be somewhere close to that level where every student that walked through our building as an alternative school program graduated on time. So that was a big thing. And it was just building those relationships, especially with alternative school students, because a lot of the kids that came to us felt like nobody cared about them. So we had to establish those relationships. I had one student, never forget, he said, this is good you're doing all this stuff for us while we're in the building, but when you go home, we still got to deal with all this stuff at home. Mm-hmm. So that is something that stuck with me. And like I said, that's what was part of the reason why we extended the school and did different things with them outside of the normal school day.
And that's something, we know this reality, but it still hits hard when we think about it, when we hear about it, such as what you said, that home is not always your safe place, your safe space, where theoretically that is your safe space from the world.
Correct.
My home. But you got so many young people, that's not my safe space. On the flip side, I would think a large percentage of young people that their safe space is their school, right? And if it's not, then it becomes incumbent upon us as leaders to be able to create that, to lead that at least this space is a safe space. It is a growth space, as opposed to whatever the challenges may be when they leave school and go home. But I got a question. I don't want to assign a name. Anybody can jump in here. All 3 can jump in here. Let's look at the assistant principal, because I never want to lose sight of them, given the name of this platform, the AP and New Principals Academy. I'm known to say, I say it all the time, I've written about it extensively, that the assistant principalship is the most misunderstood and underutilized position in all of education. And I say that primarily when I go to a school or know of a school where the assistant principal is a full-time disciplinarian, coupled with supervising a cafeteria. If that person does not supervise teachers, does not evaluate teachers, then fine. Pay the person 6 figures, whatever you're paying, and let them do discipline all day. Let him or her and supervise the cafeteria and load and unload buses, if that's how you want to spend that kind of money and use that person. But if this person is a supervisor of teachers, an evaluator of teachers, then that position is being misused. So therefore, as a backdrop, my question to you, to anybody that wants to jump in here, where are we getting it wrong with preparing assistant principals for the principalship? And what would you say in real time right now to a superintendent, board member, assistant superintendent, principal, about how the assistant principal should be trained and prepared for a future principalship? That's for anybody.
I would love to hit that. I love to hit on that one.
Yeah.
Was just, and I can't wait to hear from Marcus and Monte as well. This is my 15th year as a principal. I was a teacher for 9 years and an assistant principal for 4 years. I tell people all the time that that I love being I love middle school math, love being a math teacher. I think my calling is to be a middle school principal. But the most fun I have had in this education career was as an assistant principal. And that was because, and this is going to help answer that question, Kafele, and that was because my principal at the time, his name Dave Cassidy, and our superintendent Donna Peters, they pushed, they redefined, in their minds they redefined my role and my responsibility and what I did at West Montgomery High School. I was a middle school math teacher. I came to the high school, and he said, "Turn this math department around." So, jump into the instructional leadership role. I have always read my life, but he made me a reader. And this book, read. And it just, I came in expecting, I didn't come in expecting to be a disciplinarian. But his vision reinforced that piece. So, and his vision aligned with our superintendent, Dr. Donna Peters, at that time as well. So, so that backdrop, now getting to your question, what can we do? What I would have loved is a real field experience while I was in school or shortly after school to be an assistant principal. It comes from a mission from the superintendent, or from district leadership. Our assistant principals have to be instructional leaders. It is what it is. They have to be instructional leaders. We're fortunate. Our current assistant principal, she was an ELA coach, a reading coach, and encyclopedic knowledge, and can kick it off. Having a coaching background. So whether you were a coach before you became an assistant principal, or how to coach adults into changing behaviors and changing practices, that's a big piece. That's a big part of it. That's been one of my more recent realizations, Baruti, is we know the importance of coaching, and we talk about the importance of coaching. Do we see coaching in practice? Are we there modeling am I modeling how to be a coach for our assistant principal? In my previous school, in one of my previous schools, hired two fantastic assistant principals. Shout out to Natasha Brown and Tremaine Canteen, and because they both became principals of the year in the district where we were. They were powerful instructors, but I had to teach them. They were stellar in the classroom, but not everybody comes with that gift to be stellar in the classroom. How can you help teachers be stellar in the classroom? So a big part for us is getting away from the management mindset and helping our assistant principals embrace the coaching mindset and really giving them the space to do that. So whatever we could take off their plate to make sure that they're getting in there, because our assistant principal, she's in every ELA PLC. We design those learning plans and how it works. And it's a tough job. And it's a tough job because we can't take discipline away from it. We can't take discipline away from it. We have to elevate those other pieces for the importance and give them the importance for that they actually have. It's tough.
And I got you on mute, Principal Cavella.
Yeah, like I was going to say, anybody else want to jump in? And I guess you do.
Yes, sir. I think where we went wrong is develop first. I guess to answer the question, you see that Inspire book right there. That give them that playbook and they're set. But prior to that, where we went wrong is we stopped developing principles. So if principles are not secure, they don't know. They can't teach what they don't know. And if they're learning on the job, a lot of principals don't feel comfortable making sure that their assistant principals are where they need to be. So I think that principal mentorship is key. I became an assistant principal at 27. Dr. Valerie Cave, she was a first-year principal, but she ensured that and we worked in 3 districts since. I'm her chief academic. She's a superintendent now. But she ensured that I learned everything she knew as an assistant principal. After that, I worked for a principal that wasn't as hand-on. If you wanted to do nothing but discipline, he would have let you. But if you wanted to do your own thing and learn, so I learned a lot how to be self-sufficient and work on myself, because he just wanted you to be over an area. So you're like a mini principal over an area. But if you just did discipline, then that's what you did. But that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I did other things because I found that if you focus on discipline, discipline will be the focus. So, and then as I became a principal, I did 10 years as a principal. And in those 10 years, I've had 18 leaders that have became assistant principals. 3 of them became principals. So that was because I was definitely intentional, because any great leader know if you develop your assistant principals, that's make your job a lot easier. And that helped spread the wealth with the instruction especially. So I met with my leadership team, not just my assistant principals, but people that wanted to be in leadership. But we also had an admin meeting where it was just APs and the dean of students twice a week on Mondays and Fridays. So Monday morning and then Friday afternoon. They knew they had to stay after on Friday, so we can debrief. On Monday mornings, we went PL so we can learn what it takes to be a principal and what I'm expecting to see instructionally in the building and any other component that's necessary. So I think those are things that have to be intentionally done. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes veteran principals to be able to do that. And we have so many new principals that's trying to, I see a lot of principals now, they just trying to figure it out themselves. So they don't have time to teach an assistant principal. And that's what I've seen as a problem.
Yeah, I see it too. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I've had right now about 5 assistant principals at the one school I've been in the 6 years now. One of the things I've learned is to view assistant principalship almost like an apprenticeship, that they're coming in and it's my job to develop them and to equip them with the tools they need to go to the next level. My assistant principals and I, we converse every morning and every afternoon, and we divide up what our responsibilities are. So I don't leave all of the discipline to them. I do some of it, not all the time, but I do some of it. We also divide up what our PLC, our instructional work is. They lead some PLCs, I lead some. So we talk about all of that because I want them to know what this role is like when they leave the building. We lead instructional rounds. They lead some, I lead some, but we're talking about it together. But you said something at the beginning of your monologue. You talked about accountability partners. I use my assistant principals as a part of my accountability. I ask them about decisions I make that day. Tell me, how did this go? What do you think? And instead of telling them something they did wrong, I ask them to reflect on what they did. They'll ask me, hey, Doc, I did this. Do you think it was wrong? I would ask them, hey, you tell me, let's walk through it. What other way could you have done this? And what results would you have gotten? Because I don't want them to become a copy of me. I want them to emerge as the leaders that they have been created to become. So I work on sharing with them my experiences, but also allowing them to experience their own ups and downs. And I don't leave all the books, buses, and discipline to just them. We look at all of this together.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I appreciate that. I got one more, and then we're gonna go to these talking points. I got one more that's just for everybody. The sum up to close out this portion of our conversation. Our topic again: the success of my school is grounded in my leadership effectiveness. The question is a two-parter. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna use both, but let me go with this first part. This is a vulnerability question. Dr. Abner, Principal McCoy, you the two of you are still leading. Dr. Scott, you're leading, but not at the building level. You moved on in that chief academic officer. So I want you to go put yourself back in that principal seat. And here's the question. The success of my school is grounded in my leadership effectiveness. As it relates to your leadership, is that title a true statement or is it a false statement?
I think it's a true statement, Principal Fele. I think I once read a book. If you don't feed the teachers, they eat the students. So I believe a part of my responsibility, not a part, majority of my work is to make sure that I have properly developed my teachers through professional development, through coaching, through mentorship, through giving them the support they need. If I don't have the capacity to do it, whether that's through district coaches, zone coaches, whatever. But if I don't prepare my teachers, if I don't give them the space to work, give them the time to collaborate, if I don't share and communicate that vision and mission and give them opportunity to own that vision and mission, then my school is not going to be effective. My students are not going to learn at high levels, and my teachers are not going to feel safe and supported in the learning environment that we're trying to establish at our school.
And I'm big on systems. So when you pose that question, the key word there was rooted. So I definitely believe that the success is rooted in my leadership, even. But I think those systems are key because the goal is to make sure it's not dependent on your leadership.
That's right.
So when you leave, and there's 2 schools that I've left that after, 3 that I've led, there's still systems that I've put in place that are still successful, maybe not as successful as it was when I'm there, but it's still there. So I definitely think it's rooted in how I lead in order for the school systems to be successful. But my hope is, like Dr. Abner stated, that I've built enough leadership capacity throughout the building where it's less dependent on my leadership.
Yeah.
I think this makes me think of a couple of quotes. First, culture eats strategy for lunch. Strategy for lunch. So if reflecting back to the principalship, if you don't have a clear vision and mission and a goal for the culture, then the culture, nothing will take root, nothing will prosper, and nothing will improve. You know, and I know we talk about culture like a big monolith, but there are different aspects of culture that create a culture of growth that supports our students. If we don't focus, so if the principal is not focusing on the culture and what's going to really be important at the end of the day, then no growth will be made. Now I think about that. So when I think about culture, that makes me think about my friend Tabari
Wallace.
Tabari Wallace. Yeah, Tabari Wallace. Tabari says you can either be the thermometer or you can, what is it? You can be the thermometer.
Thermostat.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You can either be the thermometer or you could be the thermostat. So no way, and that feeds into the misnarrative that people have about the principalship and the assistant principalship. People think that principals sit in their office all day reading emails and people come to them. We go out. If you're not out and if you're not out in that school, building that culture, having those communications, having those talks with staff and students, then yeah, a lot of misunderstandings, and and a lot of misplaced is going to happen. So if it's not intentional efforts on our part to build culture, to build a good culture, to build a supportive culture, then it's not going to happen. And that is part of the weight that comes with the principalship. It comes with the vision. It comes with the mission. And our assistant principals, like Marcus, like you were saying earlier, our assistant principals have to see us making that work, putting in that work. And Monte, like you were saying, they have to be with us side by side as we are doing that work, so that when we're not here, they can continue so that work continues, not just continues, prospers, does better. Without.
Yeah, love it. You know, before we go to those talking points, I kept this name on the screen, and she probably knows why. AD Faison. Her name is Annette Faison. I posted about her this week. She is the Wilson County Public Schools or School District in North Carolina Principal of the Year, but she's longtime fam of this academy. So to the fam out there, give us some emojis. Clap her up, please. Because anytime when I see fam doing big things, when I say fam for the folks who are not part of this, who are new to the platform, the folks that tune in regularly, we call them fam. When I see them publicly in conferences and all that, we identify each other as fam. And yeah, she's the Principal of the Year, Wilson County, North Carolina, man, doing big things. And she reached out to me and to let me know and to tell me she's fam of the platform. So you know I'm proud of her. So yeah, I appreciate all those emojis. I see them. Even my wife jumped in there. Keep them emojis coming, y'all. We want, anytime we doing big, we want to make sure we clap it up, that you appreciate that you're being celebrated by this community, because that's what this platform is. It's a community. So Principal Faison, good job. And by the way, y'all know I booked her, right? I'm literally booked solid until April of 2026. But when I found out about Principal Faison, I made something happen. So she'll be on soon. I don't remember when it is, but I know it's soon. It's not April, right? So she'll be on soon, so we can talk about her accomplishments. So yeah, I see all them emojis. Keep them coming, man. That's big time. Let me switch the screen up and go to these talking points, and we'll get through as many as we can. But before we get started, Dr. Scott, tell the folks how they get a copy. Tell them about this book.
Okay.
And how do they get a copy? Because I don't want to wait till the end, because I want to make sure we while we got this peak number right now.
Okay, the book is called Inspire. It's 7 systems for transforming any schools. It says underperforming growth now, but Inspire stands for instructional leadership, nurturing culture and climate, structures for success, parent involvement, inspecting what you expect, relationships matter, and empowering and employing the right folks. I feel like research shows that those 7 systems, if you have those in place, schools will improve. You can get it on Amazon, or you can contact me directly for that cheaper price, because it is a resource. So I use it as such, and it's priced as such.
So how do they reach you directly?
To reach me directly, you go to scottsallstars.com, or you can get my Facebook, or my phone number is 912-655-4371. Again, that's 912-655-4371. All
right. And then when we get towards the end, just type it in, and I'll put it I'll highlight it on the screen, the website or the email address, so that they'll have it. All right, let's jump into it. Let me get that here we go. So Dr. Abner, for the fam out there, those of you who are new to the platform, I always ask my fam, I got my own questions, but I also want them to talk about things that they're passionate about. And I ask all the guests to just give me like 3 things that you're passionate about, that you feel that the listeners can benefit from. So Dr. Abner, the first one, he says, strong school leadership is about building a culture where students feel seen, supported, and expected to succeed every single day. Dr. Abner, what are you telling us with this particular talking point?
I want to relate it to something you shared, Principal Kafele. You talked about the intentionality of school leadership, being intentional about what they see, feel, hear, and experience.
That's right. That's
For
right.
me, I thought when I come to a school, I want to make sure that we're intentional about building a culture where our kids can be successful, but not just our students, we want our teachers to be successful. And this culture has to feel right. It just doesn't have to be where we put all this wonderful artwork on the walls and these wonderful sayings that we talk about the things that we do. True culture is a part of our everyday experiences in the school. It's a part of how children respond. It's a part of how teachers respond, how we build those relationships with the parents, how we build those relationships with each other. Do our children feel seen? Do we know their names? And we're not talking about can we read their names of the good kids, quote unquote, who do right all the time, but do we know the students who sometimes that nobody else notices? Do they feel valued? Do they feel like we believe in them, that we believe they are capable of succeeding at high levels? And this idea of expectation, do we expect them to be successful? Not do we want them to be successful, but do we expect them to be successful? And does that expectation, is it evident in the way I behave as a leader, as an instructional leader, as a classroom teacher? Is that expectation evident in my behavior? Am I really showing up every day? Am I giving you the support you need when you don't succeed at the level I think you can? Am I contacting your parents? Am I meeting one-on-one with you? Am I giving you the support you need with other teachers or outside support, as Mr. McCoy said? So for me, I think my leadership is only effective if I create a culture that is conducive to them being successful. And that culture has to have the right plate, the right pieces there. I read a book, I think it was by Jim Knight, not Jim Knight, I can't remember the author. But the author says that we have to get the right people on the bus, get the right people on the right seat on the bus, and get the other people off the bus. And for me, that's important. I have to have the right teachers at the school, serving the right students. Sometimes we put students in any class. Some teachers are not a match for some students, and some students are not a match for some teachers. So when we're building schedules, we're looking at personalities. We're looking at, does this child need a male teacher? Does this child need a female teacher? Does this child need a coach? Does this child need someone who has the same experience he had? Does this child need other mental support, whether that's counseling, etc.? So in the school, my leadership is about looking at all the right pieces and connecting those students to those pieces so they can get the support they need.
You're muted, Rudy.
262 weeks to 63 weeks. This is the first time I've ever used this mute button, and I'm forgetting that I'm using it. So forgive me. Listen, I want to go back to that word expected, and you talked about expectations. I want to put you, Dr. Abner, in a coaching capacity. So you're doing one-to-one coaching with a new principal.
Right.
And it has come out in the conversation that you're having that this principal's expectations are not that high for the students of the zip code that attend this school. Now you and I, all four of us know that we can't teach expectations, right? Either you expect or you don't. However, if I'm a coach, I'm still going to try to coach this person up.
That's right.
So what I want to ask you, since you use that word, you're that coach, and this principal's expectations are not good. What do you say, Dr. Abner, to this young principal about building one's expectations so that ultimately it's not that you're doing it because Dr. Abner said I need to have them, but somehow I've developed them? Like what might that sound like coming from you?
First, I want to ask that principal several questions. One of the questions is, what is it that he hopes to accomplish as a principal? What is his end goal? 5 years from now, 3 years from now, but I also want to ask him, what's your end goal by the end of this year? And so if that's your end goal, I'm going to ask him, what are some measures do we need to put in place to help you be successful by the end of the year? I'm not going to go back and address the high expectation, because hopefully that high expectation is going to come out with him telling me, what he wants to accomplish by the end of the year. And I don't know too many principals are going to say, I don't want my children to be successful. So when he says, this is what I want, I'm going to ask, okay, so what groups or what areas do we need to address to help you get to this area? Hopefully we can then identify, what groups need to support. If we're saying he doesn't believe special ed students can be successful, but you want all your kids, you want to meet this particular goal, then what do we need to do to help the special ed students be successful? So we're going to address it based off that 5-year goal, 3-year goal, but this 1-year goal, and then break that 1-year goal up into segments to say what part do we need to address first.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Because now I love it. And I asked the question because I know it's a lot of new folks, new leaders, aspiring leaders that tune in every week, right? So here you're saying, all right, well, let's go to your intended outcomes, right? And let's break that down, which circles us all the way back to, all right, now what's my expectation for my intended outcome? That's what you just said, man. You nailed it. You nailed it. Let me keep moving because I see that time. I know y'all want to see that Knick game later, so let's keep it moving. I'm calling you Doctor still. Principal McCoy, you said,
appreciate it.
What is my role in helping develop coaching skills in our AP, helping others change practices and beliefs when necessary? Now, while you, the beginning of you responding to this, I'm just going to go and answer my doorbell right quick. So just go ahead and talk. I'm gonna be able to hear you.
Okay. So I've gone into this a little bit earlier, but there's a lot to cover here. This has been a more recent realization on my part, and I think it's because we've all seeing more of a need from our students. Our students are bringing different needs, different challenges to the classrooms in more recent years. So it's not just about increasing our expectations for student behavior. We have to change those behaviors, and coupled with the fact that we're getting a lot more of our teachers who come from non-educational backgrounds, and we're having to help them with learning a classroom, manage a classroom, teaching, and that whole role. So there's a lot of need in a lot of different areas. So we can't come at this with a it'll work out approach over time. I think I forget who said this, but this also is not a piece for I've told you something, now you should be able to do it, and then you should be able to do it at a high level. So if we want to see change, we have to get in 10 toes deep, side by side with teachers, model how to start a lesson, model how to start a lesson, model how to deal with the class when we need to redirect the whole class or redirect one student, or any of the 4 million things that can happen within 90 minutes of a classroom. So we have to be right there with them in all of those different scenarios, especially if our teachers are coming to us and they don't have a teaching background. They just have a desire to be a teacher. So we have to be right there with them. I know students respond different. Students respond differently when I'm in the classroom than when the teacher's there, and we get that part. But getting back to that bridge, our assistant principals may not always see that nuance on that level. So we have to have high expectations talks with our teachers in terms of when you're helping this teacher, it can't just be about told does not mean taught. I'm crediting that to Dr. Sandra DeShazier. She hit me with that one earlier. Told does not mean taught. So it can't just be sit down and do this and do that. not if we want to see impact, and not if we want to see things done at a high level. We have to, my talk with our administrative staff is regularly and always about what expectations do we have set for the classroom. Why did you say this? Why did you coach them in this particular area in this particular way? Did you get your desired results? And if not, then we have to go back and have different coaching talks or different high expectations talks with our students and with our teachers, I should say, with our teachers. Principals cannot have all the change talks in the school that need to be had. Mm-hmm. That's the first part. We can't have all the talks that need to be had. We trust our assistant principals. So they are an integral part in that growth process, in that change process. So, and again, it's not about the principal knowing everything and being the font of all knowledge. That's not what this is about. If anything, I appreciate what Monte said earlier. If anything, it's about sitting down I sit down with our assistant principal regularly, and I say, we need to see this change. How do we make it happen? Not, we need to see this change. Here's 1, 2, 3. Here's what to do, kind of thing.
I love it. Now I'm unmuted this time. Let me throw this at you, Principal McCoy. So here we could treat this as a hypothetical. It doesn't have to be you, but if you want to own it or personalize it, feel free. So you're this person is a principal, and they hire this young, just coming out of the classroom teacher into the assistant principalship to become your assistant principal. This person has been talking to children all day, every day. And the adult conversations are minimal in comparison in the building, right? Because this is a classroom teacher who spends the bulk of the day in the classroom. You have detected that this person is struggling with one-to-one coaching conversations with teachers because this person is young. The teachers are older than this particular person who's now an AP. So that communication skill is not quite there yet with adults, right? With people I now supervise that I've never done this before. I've always taught children. Talk to me about the conversation with this new assistant principal, the conversation or even modeling with this new assistant principal to help this person to feel a level of confidence in engaging a teacher in a one-on-one in a coaching capacity.
Let's take that scenario and add another layer to it. So this person is innately a high-level teacher. So yeah, high level teaching is my natural bar. High level teaching, high level impact is my natural bar. So now that I'm a new principal and I go into another teacher's classroom and I see lower impact, what do you mean you're not high? Everybody teaches at a high level like I do. No, they don't.
Right.
No, they don't. I say that because I live this conversation with one of the best assistant principals that I've ever hired, and one of the best principals there is right now. Shout out to Natasha Brown in Cumberland County. So, and she's been principal of the year. She's awesome. It was one of the best lessons or learning experiences that we've had together. So what do we say? How do we talk this out? Number one, we have to see people for who they are and see the situation for what it is. Take out any. So we have to. When you went into the classroom, what did you see? Not how did you feel when you walked out? Because we can all feel a certain way about especially if we see some deficits. What did you see? What is one thing that we can narrow on, that we can focus in on, that this person can work on? Now, there might have been 20 things that went wrong. Derek's natural inclination is we're going to work on 19 of those 20 things. But the reality piece is we have to identify one. We can identify one, maybe two related things that we saw. Sit down with that teacher, break it down, and have that good conversation. How do we have that good conversation? We start with the positive. We always ask the teacher, and Monte, I think you said this. Did you get that? Did you get the outcome that you wanted with this particular thing? Did you get the outcome that you wanted? When that answer comes back, no, or maybe, or kind of, or whatever, good, then let's start there and let's set a high bar. Ideally, what did that look like? Ideally, what would that have been? How can we make that happen? And then the last most important part is let's just say that the class didn't start off great. We stand up and we say, okay, teacher, here is how you do it. And you, as the principal, as the assistant principal, you model what that looks like. They replicate that until they get it right. And then we end that leading until we end that meeting. I think so many of us are in a told means taught frame of mind that we forget that people need to practice. We forget that people, especially if they don't have the experience, they don't know. If I don't know what to do, I do what I have always done. If I don't know what to do, I will emulate what my high school teacher did to me, right or wrong.
Yeah, right.
So we have to show that great part.
I love it. That just to reiterate, that piece is so critical. Knowing how to effectively communicate as an administrator with a teacher. But I want to put this comment up before I go to the next one. Juanetta McCray said, please discuss how vital it is for central office to teach, model, and set the bar for school leaders to be effective as well. Sometimes I think we tend to forget that the effectiveness of school leaders also depends on the level of supervision and support of their central office leadership. I'm not going to sway the conversation to this. I just wanted to put it on the screen to be able to say to Juanetta, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Next week's session, Ms. McCray, I'm having 3 superintendents on, and that's going to be our focus in terms of their role, central office role, with the building level leadership, not just the superintendent, but assistant super directors, whatever it is. But that's going to be our conversation. So tune in next week so that we can have that conversation. If Dr. Scott wants to chime in, since he is chief academic officer, then of course I know he's probably chomping at the bit to do so. But I just want you to know that next week we're going to devote 2 hours to what you're asking, right?
Now, Scott, can I take 1 minute?
Sure.
Absolutely.
On this topic, please, just because yesterday my executive director came out and she, Dr. Shawana Sellers, and whenever she visits, we always walk the school building and we always have a talk with an adult in the school building. She always makes time to have an adult in the school building. It's touching a person, being involved in a situation, and then providing some input. If the central office is just walking through and then walking out, then they've checked the box. But if we're taking time to get in and dig in and find where we can make some input, that's what growth is. Thank you, Marcus.
Love it.
And I agree with you. Go ahead. Oh,
Dr. Scott, let me say this real quick before you jump in on Juanetta. I hope I didn't just butcher her name, Juanetta. Let me say this real quick, and then I want you to jump on in here, and then we'll get back to our flow. I interviewed for approximately 5 superintendent positions over the years. I didn't want any of them, and I say to you sincerely, I never finished the interview. I said to them, let's end this. I don't want this. I just came out because you invited me, because I didn't seek it. But in the interview, all 5, I said to the folks, if I was the superintendent, you probably would not be satisfied with my leadership because I would refuse to be in central office in the morning. I said, for me, sitting in the seat I'm sitting in, the most important person to me in the district theoretically is the children, but in this case, it is not the children. Most important person in the district for me from the superintendent's chair is the principal of every building, right? If I don't have excellent leadership in those schools, then I know that those schools are not going to perform at the levels upon which they could. So therefore, I'm not going to micromanage a principal, but I am going to be highly familiar with what's going on in each school, and not one of them Gwinnett County schools where it's 1 million schools, but in something much smaller, right? So that way I can put my head to the pillow at night knowing that I've got leadership in that building that's taking care of business. So therefore, I'm going to engage in whatever degree of training that has to be engaged in. It's not going to be limited to me, but certainly I'm going to play a role because I was once a principal. So I have a handle on principal leadership. So that's just I just wanted to say that before we go to someone who's actually in the position at central office to address Ms. McCray. Go ahead.
And I'm fairly new to the position. However, my take is to provide input, recommendations, and coach. So when I saw that question, it stood out to me as well, because what I've seen is sometimes central office overreaching. And as a principal, I've had some good supervisors, and I've had some not so good ones. But the not so good ones wasn't going to stop the work that I was doing.
Right.
Because they shouldn't have had that big of an impact on my school.
Right.
So I take that same approach as a chief academic officer. My job is to support. If I see something right or wrong, give you recommendations. But at the end of the day, it's your school.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to be accountable for the results of your school. Now, if it's just on fire, then that's a different story. But I believe in coaching. I talked about how principals need coaching. That's my probably number one job, is to make sure I coach principals where they can be effective and ensure that students are achieving.
Love it. Love it. That word is just, it can never be overstated. Coaching, right? And we know that some are going to need more coaching than others, right? But I want to put myself in position to know where that coaching is needed, is required, as opposed to I'm sitting in central office somewhere and stuff is happening in the school. Because see, I prided myself, and I learned this from another principal. I prided myself on knowing the classrooms in my school, not going into a classroom and I'm amazed and surprised at what's going on. I walked in that classroom already knowing what I expected to see, because of my familiarity with the lesson plan and with the teacher on an ongoing coaching relationship. So in my mind, that was going to transfer if I was to take that position, which I never will as a superintendent, and have that level of familiarity without, as you said, overreaching. Because I know what it, like you said, I know what it is to have superintendent to overreach and frustrate me to the extent that I don't want to be there anymore, right? So I know that life too. But I also know a life where, do you, Kafele, and I'm here if you need me, you know, that support. So, you know, so that's why I wanted to throw that in there for her. And you know, we'll listen to these central office folks next week and see what their perspectives are on it as well. Good stuff. Let me go to Dr. Scott. That was like some extra stuff, y'all. Here we go. School transformation starts with courageous leadership that prioritizes students and effective systems. What are you telling us here?
It's pretty much what I've been talking about. Building that culture of putting students first. Although not difficult for me, but one of the most difficult things I say most educators do is putting students first, because of all the politics and other things that get in the way. You definitely want to ensure that teachers have what they need and other support staff have what they need. But our number one job is to make sure the students are achieving. So putting that in the forefront and making sure that instruction and teaching and learning is at the forefront. Because again, we have to keep the main thing, not again, like I said, but we have to keep the main thing the main thing. So a lot of times we're looking at so many other things, and it's a lot as a principal. But if we're not making sure that teachers are developing to ensure that students are successful, then we're not doing what we need to do. And like I said, I take a systematic approach. That's why one of the systems is instructional leadership. I have them in no particular order, but that's definitely a daily focus. Like you talked about, Principal Kafele. As a principal, I knew every teaching style that they had, every instructional strategy that they were going to use, because I was not just me, but my administrative staff was in the building every day. And that's not hyperbole. So every day we got in several classes. Matter of fact, as I talked about having a central office person that was ineffective, so she chose a principal to do a PL on walkthroughs, and it was a lot of walkthroughs for that particular school. They did 100 walkthroughs in a semester. So I had my academic coach. I said, hey, go look up how many walkthroughs we did, because we track walkthroughs because we provide feedback. And again, we inspecting what we expect. I say a lot of times that accountability isn't micromanaging, it's alignment. So we want to make sure that we're aligned.
Yeah.
And good leaders, they make sure that they're checking for alignment. So we end up looking, and again, just 9 weeks. And again, people think I'm exaggerating when I say that we had over 1,000 walkthroughs. That's counting 5 staff members, my coach, my 2 assistant principals, myself, and the dean of students. So out of the 5 of us, we had 1,000 walkthroughs in 9 weeks. So that's getting into class a lot of times, and that's pretty much the culture that we set when we were in the class. Like I said, somebody said this before: you can't fake being in the classroom, understanding what's going on, because students gonna know. So when we came in, it's like, okay, they're just here. They knew because we were there every day. So that is what I mean when you have to be courageous, because a lot of times, and that's why I put I have an emphasis on financial literacy as well, because unfortunately, because of finance, and then people need their check, and I understand it. I always often go to that point where on Lean on Me, when he took that dollar and say, pay your bills. So people got to pay their bills, so they can't make decisions that they want to make. I put myself in a situation where I can make a decision anytime I want to, because, and then not just financially, but also you're good at what you do. When you're good at what you do, you're going to have a position. So you have to be courageous to always do what's right for students and set up those successful systems.
Let me ask you something philosophically.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in leadership, and this is just philosophical, if I'm in leadership, why do I need the courage to lead? Why can't I just lead?
Why can't you just lead? That's a good question, and it should be
Only philosophical. I ain't trying to jam you up.
Oh no. I like the question. Because it brought me to it's a book called Courage to Lead. Yeah. And when I first became a principal of the alternative school, an effective central office person gave me that book and said, make sure you read it. And that's what it talks about. Hey, you're going to get fired if you don't do it your way, or you'll get fired if you do it your way. So get fired doing it your way and have the courage to lead. Yeah. So your question was, why should you have the courage to lead?
Why do you need the courage as opposed to just get in there and lead?
Because it goes back to what I previously said. One of the most difficult things to do in public education is to put students first. So you may know that something is best for students, but your boss or somebody in central office or somebody even in Washington may say this is what's best. our literacy scores doubled because we did a reading initiative. And one of the reading initiatives, again, is making things relevant for students, is a Black history book that talked about Africa. We touched on slavery and just different things about African American culture. One of the Black teachers, like, can we do this with the CRC? Let them come to my building and tell me no, so I can tell them why we're doing this, because it's best for students. So again, those are the courageous things that everyone, and I understand everyone won't be able to do, because maybe somebody will come to the building and say, hey, you need to stop this. But if I truly believe that it's best for students, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I love it. You know, we could actually, I won't do this, but we could actually go for like 2 hours on courageous leadership.
Yeah.
Right. And it's and I'm gonna say this again while taking a risk of not swaying the conversation, because I'm gonna wrap it up in a little while. But I want to at least say this part for the benefit of the fam that's on the call watching. Courageous leadership. You have to have the courage to lead. But as you said, Dr. Scott, and I think as was said by one of the others, it might have been McCoy, you could have so much courage that you get yourself into trouble as well, right? But for me, because I treated leadership personally versus professionally. I mean, I'm going to be a professional.
Correct.
But the work was personal, right? And certainly my guy, this is when I was talking about the accountability partner, this is Vincent Stallings. This is the one I know I can confide in. You know, so it's like when you bring that courageous leadership, and you're going to go above and beyond, and you're going to do the things that maybe the rest of the team, the colleagues, won't do for fear of trouble. When you are connected to a community, because see, if I'm a status quo leader, I don't need to do this work, right? I just don't need to. I can find something else to do, right? I don't want to be a status quo leader. I want to be a disruptor of the status quo, and that's going to require me to be a courageous leader. But I'm going to say this because I don't want to be careless nor reckless for the fam out there. In terms of how I'm using this word courageous, what I just said is not for everybody. Everybody's not going to be that leader that's going to put it all on the line for children, right? I was as the kids would say, I'm him, right? I put it all on, I put it all on the line, and Vincent Stallings can attest to that, right? So so I risked it all because of that courage. So you all out there, and I don't know why I'm in this space I'm in right now. I guess it's that word courageous was triggering for me. But you all out there have to make a decision. Who you gonna be? Like what's the ceiling for your courage, right? And then you ride with it. That's on you. I'm not here to criticize it, critique it, nothing, judge it, nothing. I'm just I think as I'm examining myself as I speak, the word courageous is a triggering word for me because of my own principleship and the trouble I got into in fighting for young people. Go ahead, McCoy.
And I would, first of all, this conversation right here is hitting me to my heart, as it should most of us, no matter what position we're in.
Yeah.
In the school building. It makes me think about where courage comes from, or where it should come from. Because I think if we come to school with a mission and purpose, if I know my mission and purpose is to make an impact for the kids who need me the most, then and I know that in order to meet the needs of the kids who need me the most, I got to have some conversations. Then I will I will have some what people call courage.
Yeah.
But I think in that situation, some people look at it as courage. Other people look at it as this is just how it has to be. I'm not Superman jumping off a building, super courage or whatever. I'm just, that child needs me to speak up for him or her.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna have that conversation, or I'm gonna take this action. He or she's super courageous. Nah, that child needed me to say A, B, and C. So I said A, B, and C. And if you want to hold me accountable for it in your way or this, that, and the other, I'm gonna sleep better at night. It's gonna be good, because that conversation wasn't about me or about you. That conversation was about that child that needed me to say A, B, and C. Where does courage come from? And that's what got me to think about that whole piece. Thank you. That was wonderful.
I need to do a session on courage. Just because it means different things, to different people. It's not a word that we're all going to write the same definition if asked to write it. It means so many different things. And here's like Constance Sherrod was saying, advocacy, and that's what I think she's saying what you were saying, McCoy, and to be an advocate, one has to have courage. Because when you're an advocate for someone, you're fighting for somebody, right? So, man, my door is ringing off the charts today. So if you're going to be that advocate, then it's going to require a degree of courage. And the question becomes, is the courage worth the risk, right? So again, we way over here. So let me get back on course, man. Don't bring no more of them triggering words, man, because you see what that word did to me. Because see, I got baggage.
That's that passion. You got to have it.
Yeah. You're right. Let me get back. We go one more round of y'all talking points, because I ain't gonna keep y'all all day. Let me go one more round.
We got time.
Let me see. What number we on? We on number 4. Dr. Abner. You said empowering teachers through mentorship, professional development, and shared vision is key to sustaining a thriving academic environment. I know we talked a little bit about it, but what else you got if you may have wanted to add to it?
Well, Principal Kafela, I do want to just hit back. I know you already left, but talk
about courage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have to have a set of convictions, and that courage is like that conviction you have as a leader. And if you don't have a set of convictions, then I don't know how successful you can be as a leader. I just don't know. You gotta have convictions that put you in position that you're gonna have to be courageous. You can't be fearful and be successful. You can't be fearful and faithful, what my pastor used to say. So you have to have those convictions about leadership, those personal convictions, and those convictions about school leadership, like I just said. All right, to get to the thought at hand.
I love it.
Yes, sir. So we talked earlier about mentorship, and I think that mentorship is important because it helps teachers navigate the challenges that they have, so they won't burn out. We want to keep teachers in the profession, right? We want to keep new teachers and teachers who got potential to be successful in the profession. So we have to help them navigate challenges that come with this profession, and that happens through mentorships. We want to help foster collaborative culture, so that mentorship helps that as well. We also want to provide not only new teachers, but our veteran teachers with the support they need. I think sometimes we think only new teachers need mentorship, but sometimes our veteran teachers need it. And it's to help them to get the support and guidance they need to make the vision become full effect. Not only do we need to provide mentorship, that professional development is important. I said earlier, if we don't feed the teachers, they eat the children. And that's important. If we don't give them the ongoing professional development they need, and it can't just be professional development that happens after school, right? We need to provide the professional development during the day, during the summer, but we also need teachers who want to have professional development, who go to professional learning during the summer so they can improve their craft. We want to empower teachers to adapt their instruction, to adapt their learning techniques, to also manage the classroom. It is not managing the classroom is not just about making children behave, but it's about learning and managing everything in that environment, the culture in that classroom, the different culture that children bring, the learning styles that students have. But then we also want teachers to be a part of this shared vision that we have. They can't just buy in. They have to own it. It has to be something they participate in helping to create. So for me, if I don't empower my teachers, if I don't empower them through professional development, through mentorship, and through shared vision, then they won't feel as if they're part of this school family. They don't feel like they have value. They won't help us to achieve the academic success we want. We can have efficacy, but if we don't have faculty trust, if we don't have that efficacy, and if we don't have this idea of us working together, then this idea, what I talked about, academic optimism, it won't be evident in our schools. So for me, I think we have to empower our teachers, and that comes through that professional development, that comes through mentorship. And then again, empowerment is not just, hey, I'm giving you the tools, but I'm giving you the tools to lead. We have to develop teacher leaders. Our teachers have to go to that next level in their instruction, that they're helping each other, peer coaches, peer observations. So in our building, for me, I want to make sure that my teachers have all the tools to not only be helped by me, but to help each other.
You know, you there's a word you used, and that word was ownership. And I want to stay there with you, Doc, for a minute. So here, either you or the generic abstract principal, however you want to answer it, comes into a school with a particular vision. Like I'm this new principal, you're this new principal, this new principal generically out there got this vision. Like I see something that the school has never seen before, never experienced before in the history of school. This is my vision. So my question to you, what are your thoughts of how, because there's a staff there, let me give it better context. There's a staff there that never experienced before this vision that this new leader is bringing to the school, because this school has been perennially underperforming, right? It's just for whatever the reasons. You know, that's not even relevant right now. It's just an underperforming school. They're not used to victory, right? So now here you come, nah. So my question now that I gave better context, how do we as leaders get teachers to take ownership of this vision of excellence, which is a realistic vision, but I've never tasted success before, so that's hard for me to fathom at this point right now? What are your thoughts?
I've actually had that experience at the school I'm at now. I got recruited to this school from a whole nother district. And when I came to the school, it was late May on the very last day. I met with the leadership team, and it was depressing to hear all the things they thought was wrong with the school. So what I did when I left, I knew what my vision was, but my vision doesn't ever change no matter what school I go to. This is my personal vision, my personal mission. That doesn't change. So when I got here, what I wanted to do first and what I did first was I met with this leadership team. I asked them, each one of them, what do you hope our school would become? Then what I did next, I met with each community. I went to each community. I met with the parents of every community to tell me, give me three things. Tell me what you love about the school we have right now, what you don't love, and what you hope will become. Then I met with each teacher and staff individually. And if they felt uncomfortable meeting individually, you could bring whoever you want to come to the meeting. And I asked them the same three questions. What do you love most about our school? What do we need to change the most? And what do you hope we become? My assistant principals and I and the leadership team got together. We put all those thoughts on a board and we created themes. Then we came back with our entire school. We broke them up into groups, say these are the themes. And then we pushed it out to them. What do you, based off this, hope we become? And at the end, it literally messed with the vision that I had. I don't think you just set a mission and a vision with just the teachers. You also have to include the support staff, the community, and the parents. And that's what we did. That's how we did the hard work. It was hard work, but it was hard work. I heard a pastor say, excellence creates comfort. So we want to be excellent in everything that we do. And we're excellent in getting parents and teachers and the community involved with excellence and a vision and mission, people will be comfortable with the work that you do.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm looking at some of the comments too, and I got to keep myself focused, right? So let me let me go to where we at? Where you at? Number 5. Principal McCoy, you said how are we a support and leader at the same time? What are you telling us through the question?
I did a Baruti and forgot that I was muted.
Yeah.
So I go back to the original theme. Well, you said what was the guiding statement theme for this talk was the success of my school is rooted in my is rooted in my
effectiveness,
my leadership effectiveness. So this is actually directed towards the assistant principals that we have from any assistant principals under the leadership of the principal. How are principals helping assistant principals understand that they are support and a leader at the same time? Transitioning from the previous position that they were in to this new position. This new position is a lonely one. This new is lonely. I'll say it's lonelier. It's lonelier. It is very different. We when we're the teacher, we're collegial with everyone in the school, you know, but in this new leadership role, relationships have to change. Because talks have to change.
Yeah.
Talks have to be different. We when we're collegial, we naturally help everyone where they are. But now in this role, people have to see us in a role as a model. They have to see us in a role as not so much I know everything, but I can help you, but I'm going to help you coach. I'm going to help coach you to get better where you are. And at the same time, I'm standing behind you when you need support. When you need support, I'm spotting you. I got you. I'm there as well. So that thinking has to change. Are we engaging those conversations to help our assistant principals change their thinking? Are we helping our assistant principals in their role to embrace that they are the mentor, that they are now more that the mentorship is different as an assistant principal than it was when you were a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So that switch, that change is something else. It's different and it's tough. It's tough to navigate, particularly when you were a high functioning teacher. When I have these talks, when I help people understand, and even new principals, Barudia, I'm sure you know this better than most. This desk is lonely. This desk is lonely, and there's a lot of accountability at this desk. Yeah. There's a lot of accountability at this desk. Yeah. So we have to help people under us. I hate to say under us. We have to help people that we work with in our new role as a principal understand that I'm building the vision and I'm communicating this vision. I have high expectations for communicating this vision, and I'm going to help you get there. And at the same time, we have to help people clarify the misconception that this job is all about power and strong level statements. And when I say this, you jump. That's not it. That's not it at all.
No.
The most effective change that we help evoke in people is standing side by side with them.
That's
so
right.
That's why I contributed this piece in this question to my leadership effectiveness. I want people to see the model. I want to model what I want people to see, and that's me being in a dynamic role.
And you know, like when I look at your question, how are we a support and leader at the same time? That's once again going back to something I said probably 2 hours ago now. when I said that as a school leader, it is so different from any other genre of leadership, because we're leading two very different groups at the same time, children and adults, right? So when you look at this question, how are we a support but simultaneously a leader, right? And although there's some overlap between the two, there's also some differences between the two, right? Because on the one hand, I'm a nurturer, I'm a supporter, but on the other hand, yo, let's go,
Yo.
right? So
Oh.
you know, so how do we harmonize that, you know? And that's not easy for everybody.
It's dynamic,
Yeah.
and it changes from day to day. It changes from person to person.
Yeah.
I mean, what you do, the support leadership conversation you have with the teacher in classroom 1 is totally, and it needs to be, it's totally different from the support leadership conversation you have with the teacher in classroom 2. We have to differentiating that support is tough. People don't understand I can't say it better than you, but the dynamic complexities of this job requiring all the different conversations, it is tough.
Yeah.
Because one size can't fit all. And
That's
we have to be great differentiators.
That's right. I haven't used my mirror all day. Here we go. To the fam out there, how are you a support and a leader at the same time, right? I just want y'all to process that. You know, just think about it. Let it marinate within you. How are you a support to your staff or certain staff members that you may have in mind, whether you be AP or principal, or even when you project as an aspiring leader? How are you being a support, but yet you're being a leader at the same time? Now, of course, being someone who supports is leadership, right? And I understand that, but I'm also making that distinction that when you're in that role of I'm supporting you versus that role like, let's go, right? Where we trying to get from point A to point B. So ask yourself that question. But while you're asking yourself that question, ask about who you are in that capacity. Like, are you satisfied? Is there need for you to improve in those? Is that an area of weakness or deficiency that trying to like let's isolate it to one person. So you're trying to support somebody, some teacher on your staff, but you're simultaneously still want to lead them to that next level. What's your level of comfort in that particular regard? That's a question that you got to ask yourself on a regular basis. But as we all know, there's so many facets to leadership, man. Oh my God, it's like endless. And we're expected to have levels of proficiency in each of them. But the beauty is, when we're talking, and then I'm gonna toss this over to Marcus. The beauty is, as a leader, when we talk about the word leadership, and that distinction is always got to be made between leader and leadership, right? So with your leadership, you don't have to be everything to everybody, because you've got other people that you've empowered. So there's certain areas, I don't care how much training you're going to get, you're not going to be as great as somebody else. Like with master scheduling, I'm never going to be the expert there. I'm just not. It's not in my DNA. But with other things, I'll be that guy. But now I got other people, and that's their area of expertise, so I can lean on them. But if there's somebody out there trying to be Superman and Superwoman, I can understand that in year 1. But when you start transitioning into year 2, 3, and 4, you can't continue to have your hands and feet in every aspect of your building. You will be burnt out, and you'll be looking to do something else. And usually people's go-to is, I think I'll go back to the classroom, or I think I'll try a supervisor's position in central office. No, you can excel here, but you're going about it the wrong way. You're trying to do everything in that building, and it is not humanly possible. Let me step off this soapbox. We got one more to go. Let me put it on the screen. Dr. Scott has said, as a leader, I confront disparities head on and create systems that give marginalized students what they need to succeed. That's a powerful one too to end on. What are you saying?
Pretty much a lot of times, first of all, I heard someone talk about Black males are one of my passions. But a lot of times when we talk about different groups, that's one that we don't want to talk about. We have, gay, trans, we have SPED groups, we have ML groups, we have gifted groups. But if you talk about what you're going to do for a Black group, specifically a Black male group, then we whisper and we saying all students can learn. So I'm very open about confronting that. I'm also on the school board, and I did a TikTok because the school system I'm in, 80% of the students that month got expelled were Black, even though we're 50% Black. No, 80% were Black males, 25% Black males in the district. So mathematically, that doesn't add up.
Right.
So I'm very unapologetic about making sure that all marginalized students get what they need, but specifically Black boys, because a lot of times, as the saying goes, when America has a cold, Black America has the flu, but Black males have pneumonia, because we're struggling almost across the Black males, which we all have what you have on today, all Black males, coincidentally. But in most schools, they're your lowest subgroup student achievement wise. And one thing I do when I walk in every building, when I visit different schools, is look at the gifted class and look at the SPED class. Usually in the gifted class, you have very few Black males, maybe 1 to 2. And that was one thing when I took over the middle school. We didn't even have a gifted program. We had 4 gifted students in the whole school. Not because we didn't have the potential, because, again, those low expectations wasn't tested and we didn't think they could do it. By the end, we had 44 gifted students, but we also created a gifted and advanced a high achieving class. So there's 75 students taking advanced curriculum when there was 4 when I began. So, but also on the other side of that, when you go into a SPED class, and again, this is not just in one particular area, this is probably every school, we see a high population of Black males. At least this is what I've experienced. I don't know, maybe I'm not experienced what everybody else experienced. So those are things that has to be addressed nationwide. So I do try to do my part to make sure I call it out every time I see it, because all students can learn, and all students can be effective and should receive the same education that any other students receive.
That's right.
So a lot of times we wait late, and Black males especially get disengaged, wait too late, wait to high school and stuff, when we should be making sure we I like what you said, principal, about taking over elementary school, because that's the one level I've never been elementary school. So, but that's where it starts. We need to make sure that we teach students at that age that they can do anything if they put their minds to it. So
that's right. That's right. Hey, great stuff. Great stuff. Let's transition to our rapid fire, which I call my BAM impact questions. These are let me clear the screen here. These are one sentence or one word answers. No commas, right? This is just rapid fire. Think on your toes. Here we go. I'll go 7, 7, and 7 up to 21 questions. And the last one I'm gonna ask all 3 of you. Dr. Abner, do you feel that education is currently on the right path for underserved children?
Not presently.
Not presently. Do you feel that true equity can occur in America's schools for Black, brown, and other underserved students?
Yes, sir.
Does Dr. Monte Abner's work contribute to the progress we desperately need?
I believe so.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
The same.
Why do you continue to do this work?
I think it's a calling.
What fires you up particularly within the work that you do?
Seeing my students every day.
What do you dislike about the work you do?
Need more money.
Need more money. That's a good one. Yeah. Principal McCoy, what has been your greatest victory in this work thus far?
Helping change people's understanding of what learning is.
What was your greatest mistake in this work thus far?
Coming in with a told means taught mentality.
What has been your greatest challenge in your work thus far?
Courageous leadership.
Are you proud of your first year as an assistant principal?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes.
Are you proud of your first year as a principal?
Mostly.
Who inspires you in your work?
My kids.
What book would you recommend for our fam out there this afternoon?
I'll help you out.
Yeah, it's coming. Hold on. Oh, got it. Equity and social justice education.
Okay, all right. I ain't mad at you. Where's that book at? So you must have meant this one. Equity and Social Justice Education 50 by Principal Kafele. I appreciate that. Dr. Scott,
Yes,
what do you want to accomplish that you have not accomplished yet?
Superintendency.
Are you satisfied with where you are professionally?
No, never satisfied.
Is there another gear to your leadership, or are you at peak performance now?
Definitely another gear.
What would you say to an AP out there who continues to face closed doors to the principalship?
Work harder. Nobody cares.
What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their leadership passion?
Retire.
You said retire?
Retire.
What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their leadership confidence?
Move. Find a different location.
And finally, if Dr. Marcus Scott IV was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
I'm gonna go with GOAT.
Go. That's a first. If Dr. Monte Abner was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
Influencer.
Good one too. And finally, if Principal Derek McCoy was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
It's fictitious, so work love.
Work. You said work love?
Work love is one word. Compound word. It's a compound word.
Yeah. Y'all gave me some different stuff today. That's the good thing. That's a good thing. Look here, y'all. Let me say this to you before we close out and give our contact information. Great stuff. Great session. Loved it. You hit it out the park. To the fam out there, you know how we celebrate our guests. Give us those emojis, whatever your favorite emojis are. Give us a string of them. Those of you who are new to the platform, that is how we applaud our guests. So if there was something that was said today that resonated with you, if it was empowering for you, if it inspired you, if you learned something, if you got something that was influential, something that you can incorporate into your work, take back to your work next week, or if you already finished next year, then give us those favorite emojis while I grab my emoji, this bat that I got from Jefferson County in Louisville, Kentucky. This is my emoji. So y'all hit it out the park. A Willie Mays style. I'm wearing a Willie Mays San Francisco Giants jersey, number 24 on the back, says Mays up top. So I wear this with pride, and y'all hit it out the park, grand slam. Beautiful session today. I appreciate you. Dr. Scott, how do they get your book, and how do they get in touch with you to bring you out to do some seminars, some keynoting, whatever it is that they may want you to do?
All right. I forgot to mention at the beginning, thank you, Principal Kafele, for inviting me on this.
Oh, yeah.
You've always been a great mentor and friend. I appreciate all you do.
I appreciate
stuff and people in education. Appreciate being on you with you too, Mr. McCoy and Dr. Abner. You can get in contact with me. I'll be at Model Schools this year presenting. You can buy my book on Amazon, as mentioned, called Inspire: 7 Systems for Transforming Underperforming Schools. We're going to also try to do a conference. We're trying to get Principal Kafele to be one of the keynotes.
Yeah.
And my website is scottsallstars.com. My telephone number is 912-655-4371. We're trying to create inspired principals instead of regular principals. So if you want to be an inspired principal, reach out.
And Constance Sherrod is asking again, and I know you, in addition to Amazon, where can she get the book?
Go to Scott's All Stars or text me directly at my phone number 912-655-4371. Anytime I speak at a conference or if somebody reach me directly, I do the book half price.
There you go. Principal McCoy, because I know you out here on the circuit too, in addition to the work you do in the building. How do they reach out to you? And you have a book, right?
Yes, sir, we do.
Yeah, we'll give us everything.
Absolutely. First, again, Baruti, thank you so much for having us today. Just being a part of this it's to hear. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
I am McCoy Derrick on most social media, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky now. So if you're on social media, look for McCoy Derrick, McCoyDerek. You can connect with me there and DM me, and we'll hit it up that way. I'm also DerrickMcCoy.edu@gmail.com. DerrickMcCoy.edu@gmail.com. And the website is McCoyDerrick.com as well. So the book is The Revolution. It's Time to Empower Change, on Amazon. Please pick up a copy, or I'm gonna follow Marcus's lead. If you hit me up and want to buy a book, we'll knock off 30%. That is awesome. I love that. That's a great piece. I got a couple in the house for you right now. So yeah, hit me up. Love to everybody. Love to all the educators. I know it's tough. Please keep working through, because I know you're doing the work that you love.
That's it. And Dr. Abner.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Principal Kafele, for this opportunity.
I appreciate it.
Enjoyed meeting you, Marcus and Derrick. I'm Monte Abner. You can find me on Instagram at Dr. Monte B. Abner, and you can reach me via my email at montebabner@gmail.com. I appreciate you, Principal Kafele. And I do want to say good morning to my central office team. They're on here. I saw some of them.
Okay.
Dr. May and a couple of my assistant principals online too. So good morning. I saw one of my students, 8th grade students, Dante. He jumped on. So thank you all for joining and supporting.
That's nice. I appreciate y'all being here as well. Hey, and to the four of you, I mean the three of you, I again appreciate you for spending some time with me this morning and giving this vital information out here to these leaders. I want y'all to stay on while I close out. So when I go off, just stay there so we can holler off camera for a hot second. Let me clear my screen. There we go. Hey, folks, to the fam out there, fam, now that you've been on, those of you who are new, you fam too, because you're here. And hopefully you're going to come back and be a part of us. This was week number 263. So we've been doing this for a long time, 263 consecutively, right? So I've been doing this for a while, and we're going to keep on doing it for a while. This is one of my labors of love. So join me next week for week number 264. Told you we got superintendents coming on. We got Dr. Elena Zachary Ross out of Michigan. We got Dr. Tiffany Brunson out of Illinois. and we actually have a third, a young man, but I don't have a confirmation, so I don't want to put his name out here. So but I think he's going to be on, and we're going to talk about what was asked before of Ms. Cray, about just that whole central office school building dynamic, right? So we'll be talking about that among other things. Join me next week. That'll be 10:55 Eastern time right here, whatever platform you're watching. We're on 4. So whatever one you're watching, that's where we'll be. Next Saturday, 10 o'clock, Facebook Live, the Turnaround Principal, Sean Hurt, 10 o'clock Eastern, followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor at 10:30, followed by the AP and New Principals Academy at 10:55 with me and my guest, and then PDP podcast with Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno on Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern time. Make sure that you get yourself a copy. If you don't have a copy yet, then my question is, what are you waiting for? What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? The most important book that I've ever written, probably the most important book that I will ever write. So make sure you get yourself a copy of this book. It's all about instructional leadership. And then join me July 15 and 16 in Raleigh, North Carolina. That'll be called the Instructional Leadership Institute. That's something I do every summer, different themes. The theme this year will be instructional leadership. So join me. Go to principalcafele.com, scroll down, and you'll see you'll see it there on the homepage. Click the link and then register, and then I'll see you in July. And of course, as I said in the beginning, you get a copy of this with it. If you missed my monologue this morning, once we go off, rewind, go all the way back. Check out the monologue. It started at about 11:10. It was about, the topic was beware of who you call an accountability partner. And then you all know I also edit the monologue out and make it as a separate reel, and I'll be doing that within the next 10 minutes. So just be on the lookout for that. I think that's another good monologue this morning. And then lastly, your diet. Now, I didn't mention subscribe to the AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. Once again, subscribe to the AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. My brother, Dr. Stallings, said, make sure I he didn't say make sure I mention, but he put it on here. Go Knicks, right? So 3:30, New York Knicks, Game 3, Boston Celtics. Let me get my hat, man. There we go. We up 2-0. So we going for number 3. So go New York, go New York, go. So but that has nothing to do with the academy, right? Tune in. And then lastly, y'all, your diet. Let me get this string right. There we go. Your diet, your exercise, and your virus precautions. Make sure that you are taking care of you. I put all these miles in yesterday, y'all. Y'all know I always got something to say before I go off. I did all these. I went outside in the rain and put in my miles. And then at 8:55, I was watching this basketball game, the Pacers and the Cavaliers, and I got this craving for an ice cream cone. So I ran outside and got that little small joint, nothing big, just a little small joint. My mother probably like, you didn't. Yeah, I did, Mom. Got that little small ice cream cone and wolfed that thing down before I got back home because it's walking distance. I just came on me, man. I want an ice cream. My wife was like, what are you talking? You want an ice cream cone for what? I just need one. So I had to cheat yesterday. You're not cheating. So I'll make up for it. I'll make up for it later today, I guess. And then I'm heading. Hey, y'all, I'm taking it down next week. I'm going to San Juan. I'm taking a little vacation. My wife and I. But we're gonna do the academy from San Juan, so we'll be on. But I'm taking a vacation because the rest of May, June, July, and August gonna be a beast, y'all. It's gonna be a beast. So I got to take it down for a minute. So we're going to take it down in San Juan. I ain't doing no work except for preparing for the Saturday Academy. And then when I get back, man, it's just going to be on like popcorn, man. Then my mother, here go my mother, y'all. Here she go. She said, no. Yeah, I had to eat that ice cream cone, man. I had a sugar craving, right? So my son, Baruti, he also said no, right? So, yeah, man. So I'll see y'all next Saturday at 10:55. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Flip it. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I'll see y'all next Saturday at 10:55 Eastern from sunny San Juan, Puerto Rico.